All right, good evening and welcome to Called Into Questions, the only Zoom trivia game show asking difficult questions during a difficult time. My name is Chris King, and here on episode 5, I have two people from the friendly crossword community here to play today's game. If y'all will introduce yourselves right now.
You go first.
Oh, I go first?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Laura Braunstein. What else do you want to know about me? I'm a librarian.
That's perfect, right there.
All right, that's great. Okay.
We'll know more about you all as our game goes on.
Well, I'll share more. Can I share one thing, which is that I'm wearing pajamas, but I'm also wearing lipstick, which I think is kind of a metaphor for the times we find ourselves in.
That's right.
I'm Jesse Lansner. I'm a fellow crossword person, a web developer in Rochester, New York, and really I've just kind of snuck in here and Laura did all the work. And that's how we're going to continue for the rest of the session.
Right.
She can answer all the questions and I'm just going to sit here.
No, Jesse will answer all the questions. That's right.
A dynamic duo here to play the game. It's very good to get y'all. I said we've known each other now for a good little while, and it's very exciting that we're able to wrangle y'all up and play this trivia game we have here. It's I think it's the first time that we've had any. I believe this is my first game where there was virtual backgrounds, and Laura, you have the reading room of the New York Public Library, and Jesse has a city of downtown Rochester, New York, and luckily the Jeopardy posted some fun ones on their Facebook page. Maybe I should have a different game show virtual background since I'm the host of the show. That'd be have a different show each time. It'd be a funny nonsensical thing.
Just have like a fill in the blank Wheel of Fortune.
Exactly. Just have just something like that. Have I do like the blue and the purple. It's a very good. It's a very good color scheme, and I've been glad that my place has good. My pen's not doing well, but but the virtual background works pretty well. And it was a coworker of mine that while she was on Zoom. It was like a Japanese screen type thing, foldable screen behind her, and then it was clearly not coordinated right, so you could see all these white rectangles all in her background, her virtual background, because it was not. However, green screen virtual backgrounds work. It was not playing well. So it's glad that.
Did anybody see how the Queen of England was giving an address and she was wearing like a green jacket of some kind, and somebody green screened like a starship, like a Star Trek Enterprise uniform onto her?
The fact people wear
I'd like to see the sorry. You
can't wear solid light green things anymore. That's just asking for it.
Yeah.
Okay, I see pictures now.
Yeah, like it's you would almost say she was asking for it by wearing a monochrome green top, and that was that's how people get you right there is with Photoshop, and that
would be a good trivia question for the future.
There was
when the Queen of England gave an address wearing a green top.
There was an extremely funny video about a year and a half ago where, I don't know if y'all know, on St. Patrick's Day, the Chicago River is famously dyed
I used to live in Chicago.
You may have.
And you could buy green bagels too.
And I've seen The Fugitive, so I know this.
Yes, but someone on Twitter figured out that you could green screen it to be your Chicago Bulls, and because you can you can make the green river anything because it's a green color, and they inserted the Chicago Bulls intro, the classic 90s Chicago Bulls intro with all the players, and it's perfect because it was the exact right green screen for the entire river, the Chicago River. That was quality stuff. But our game tonight, we're going to be asking each other a set of 15 questions we have written. It's going to be round 1 is a medium category, round 2 is a hard category, and round 3 is a crazy hard category. I've compared it to shooting a free throw, shooting a three-pointer, and then shooting a half-court shot. At the half-court shot, if anything goes in, it's all the congratulations right there. So that will be.
That's basketball, right?
Basketball is the one where you shoot the ball into a hoop. That's right, Laura. So
right, okay.
There's only 5 sports questions for y'all, so hopefully y'all will be okay on the set. We have each chosen a specialist category for each other that we have 3 questions about. I have chosen the category of female painters. I do like art, and I thought this is a very important and good slice of the art can. I'm looking forward to seeing what has been whipped up now that the museums are all virtual right now. And Laura and Jesse, you would like to tell the people what your category is?
What did we pick Shakespeare adaptations, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That is right.
In any media?
That's right. So these are going to be questions about adaptations of the works of Shakespeare in non-theatrical settings. I will say none of these are involving the plays themselves, and hopefully y'all's knowledge of the bard or the following results of. I will say this certainly leans more towards current day than the year 1600. So hopefully, as most movies are, for example, are certainly closer to today.
I would have to say that's a good assumption.
Yeah, most movies are closer to today than Shakespeare's time, so that's all very fair. But
most movies from Shakespeare's time have been lost, unfortunately.
That's true. That is, they had those little like round things with like little horses on them that you could they look like a video when you spun them around. That's what Shakespeare's movies look like. So I have
it's called a zoetrope.
Yes, it is. It's funny to describe the horses spinning around.
Let's go with the questions. Let's
here we go. So I have 5
Can I take notes?
Yes, please.
Question, can I take notes? And also, because we're doing this in a team, and I don't know that you've had a team before on your show.
I have.
You have? Excellent. Can Jesse and I consult with each other?
Yes. So I will read out the 5 questions for both players here. They will hear the 5 questions in a row. I'll just take a quick pause, and if you are playing, pause it right.
We can talk to each other,
and then we'll go over one question at a time. I'll read the question again, and y'all can discuss.
Right. Okay. All right. So, sounds good.
So this is not a speed game here, so it'll be a good time to discuss with each other. And
right.
So, but no, feel free to have a.
I'm assuming people will stop watching after about 20 minutes, so we'll just
They'll skip to this part. This is where the questions are. This is
all right.
This is the content of the actual subject matter. This is the actual question. But here we go. Let's start out with round 1. This is y'all's first 5 questions. Very best of luck. Number 1 is set in the fictional town of Sylvan, South Carolina. What 2001 coming-of-age novel written by Sue Monk Kidd features the teenager and amateur apiarist Lily Owens? Number 2, appropriate for a delivery company, what does the letter P in the company name UPS represent? Number 3, in Yahtzee, what is the name of the category that is a catch-all for not having something else, where you just add up the points on the 5 dice? On the Yahtzee scorecard, it appears just below the Yahtzee category. Number 4, in the 1930s, what company invested into research whether or not its signature product followed kidney oat guidelines, and whose results would eventually lead to the publication of a book that has now more than 50 million copies in print? And question number 5 is, and in comes Romeo, he's moaning, you belong to me, I believe. Ophelia, she's 'neath the window, for her I feel so afraid. These lines come from the song Desolation Row, the final track of what 1965 album? So those are the first 5 questions in round 1. As you were thinking about it, take a quick pause, and you can hit play when you're ready to proceed. But we'll start back up at the top with number 1. Is set in the fictional town of Sylvan, South Carolina, as the state where I currently am hosting from. What 2001 coming-of-age novel written by Sue Monk Kidd features the teenager and amateur apiarist Lily Owens?
Do you know this one, Jesse?
I do not.
I believe it's The Secret Life of Bees.
That sounds good to me.
Apiarist would certainly hint at the word bees, and this is the novel The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. Very well done. Adapted into a film of the same name, which was set in South. I believe it's somewhere in the Low Country. Sylvan. I think most South Carolina literature that's set in the state is all set towards Charleston. There's not too much upstate or Midlands. It's usually down towards the Charleston, Beaufort area.
And you're from the mountains, right? Are there mountains?
I am from the PD region, which is the northeast region of the state.
Okay.
And like Columbia is the Midlands in the middle, but yeah, the PD area is the northeast. Sand Hills is the name given, and it's because the millions of years ago the Atlantic Ocean was receded, and so like basically there's a large region of like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina that's like sandy ground. That's where it used to be before it eventually made it where the Atlantic Ocean is now. But it's so very not mountainous, but there are mountains, but it is in the northwest, not in the northeast. But no, PD, the PD River, notably I think for crossword people is it clues the word P-E-E in crossword puzzles because it's P-E space D-E-E, so you can clue the word.
Oh, if people want to avoid something else for that.
Apparently, you can't clue the word P that way. So
not in a mainstream newspaper.
Yeah.
So the number
Depends
one
where you're publishing.
Yeah, so the funniest number one way would be to do it that way, but the not number one way would be to put with the letter or the river. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
That is
sounds good.
Speaking of P, number 2 is appropriate for a delivery company. What does the letter P in the company name UPS represent?
I'm pretty sure it's parcel. I believe that's.
I was thinking either parcel or package, but I'll go with parcel.
Going parcel? Package.
Yeah.
What?
Package is a very good word, but it is the United Parcel Service. In fact, they are delivering parcels.
Okay.
Exactly the choice you should have made, parcel or package, but parcel is the word in question here.
Right.
So,
is there a score? Do we get a prize or anything?
I will keep score. So for those at home, we are reading 2 sets of questions. I will keep score to see how many points each team earns, and it's just to see whether you at home beat either of us at our own set of questions. We can't really go against each other because it's a different set of questions altogether. So it's just seeing, would you have gotten more points than me? Would you have more points than you and Jesse here? That is all for the viewer at home to decide. But right now, right now you're batting a very good score.
Okay.
Let's quit now while we're ahead.
That's right. That's the only way to play for Jeopardy is get the first.
I think I've got at least 2 more of these of this round. Okay, go ahead.
That's good. Number 3 is in Yahtzee. What is the name of the category that is a catch-all for not having something else, where you just add up the points on the 5 dice on the Yahtzee scorecard? It appears below Yahtzee.
All right. So I have perhaps played Yahtzee twice in my life, and that would have been decades ago. So you could pick any word at random, tell me that that's the answer, and I would probably believe you.
The thing is, this is another one of these where I used to play Yahtzee all the time. I actually I was once at a garage sale and I found a vintage Yahtzee set that was completely in the plastic, had not been opened.
Oh, that's nice.
And of course, instead of thinking, I should try and sell this on eBay, I opened it and played it.
Good.
And so I clearly remember seeing this, but I cannot remember the name. And it's something like Wild Card or Mix All, I don't know, something in that vein of Gallimaufry. I don't know. I that's the closest I have. So I don't know, do we give up or do we just keep going for this round and then you tell us?
You can take a guess and I'll tell you if it's right or wrong, and then I'll start giving you hints to
Okay, you can give us hints because I think what I just said was wrong.
It is. In fact, I will say that I'll give you a hint that the answer is a 1-word, 6-letter answer.
Literally, the box is over there. I'm
sure.
in my living room. In my my real, yeah.
That's how most classic board game questions go. Is people are often near them, and it's trying to dig the
the memory of seeing that on the little
Absolutely.
Can you give us the name? What's the first letter it starts with?
Let's see. I will say that not only the first letter. I will say that this word, besides it being a part of most board games, the concept of this, I would say that this word may be even closer associated with Monopoly than Yahtzee. If someone heard this word on
free parking,
it's not free parking.
Do not pass go. Okay. Get out of jail free. Oh, chance.
That is it. Chance is the category there. Yep, is the throwaway where you're trying. Let's say you're shooting for a Yahtzee and you can't late in the game, and so you have to just put down your points there. But chance is the category for that. Very well done. So,
excellent.
Yeah. And then number 4 right now is in the 1930s. What company invested into research whether or not its signature product followed kidney oat guidelines, and whose results would eventually lead to the publication of a book that now has more than 50 million copies in print?
So Jesse, we know what this is, right? Do you know what this is?
I have a guess.
So, and I want to say, like, Chris, I appreciate you bringing this up at this time of year. If it's what I think it is. So can I say what I think it is?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's Maxwell House doing research to find out if coffee was a permitted food during Passover, and Maxwell House ended up writing an actual Haggadah that it distributed. I had thought the Maxwell House Haggadah was free. The Haggadah, by the way, if people don't know this, is what Jews read at the Passover Seder.
And not that it gives you the answer, but I have here the official Midge Maisels.
See, and that was going to be my next. I was like, there is another trivia question that you could ask about this, which is like, what television show recently re-released the Maxwell House Seder? Anyway, Maxwell House Haggadah.
And it's very good that y'all discovered like that. Apparently, that in fact, yes, the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel does have a current version of this text. And indeed, you're right. All that is right. The company is Maxwell House. Because the idea was that apparently Jewish people were not purchasing enough coffee during Passover because of kitniyot rules, which is the Hebrew word for legume, and it was discovered.
Because they thought that coffee beans were kitniyot. Or they thought, oh, okay.
I'm not practicing. So from my understanding of what happened in the 30s is that they asked a rabbi to investigate coffee beans. And then the final result was that coffee beans are more like a fruit as opposed to a bean. And somehow it's more like the fruit of a plant than it is like a bean. So that means coffee.
Botanically.
Right.
Yeah.
However, all that boils down. That defines,
to speak.
Yeah, so to speak. However, that all got sliced up exactly. But then it was decided that it's okay. So Maxwell House made a book, and like I said, it is now there's now more than 50 million copies of the Maxwell House, the MHH as it is abbreviated apparently in some online circles, and it is Maxwell House. And in fact, as its first cover says, good to the last drop, and that is exactly right. Maxwell House is the company, and so that is a fine Passover question for y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed a good, and I'm glad I did not know. I discovered that Marvelous Mrs. Maisel did have a current copy, and I'm glad you have one, Jesse. That is exactly the right thing. That is perfect, and you had it nearby too, which is even better. Like I was not expecting that.
I have a large collection of Haggadahs right by my desk.
I mean, the thing is,
I've been revising our family Haggadah, which I sort of remember to do about 5 days before Passover every year, and then do a little with it. And then this year we barely used it because, like everyone else, we had our Seder over Zoom, and
you had a Zeder.
We had a Zeder, right?
That's
and
instead
of people having the Haggadah, our host, in this case my uncle, just put screenshots of the relevant passages on his background.
That's good.
To keep everyone on the same page.
That's a good way to do it. But no, most people that would do a Zoom in a personal library often have the books. Like any book question, it's probably near them. It's a famous enough book. And like I said, you had the exact right book in question here of the Maxwell House Haggadah. So well done on your proximity there. And so hope all y'all's online setters went well. It was funny that I saw that apparently many people had a fake Elijah account join halfway and sit.
I saw that tweet. That was hilarious. That was great.
That's quality. That's a good tech. That's a good tech spin right there.
That is part of the after dinner part, which we never get to in my family, so we didn't have to worry about that.
I always just surreptitiously grab Elijah's wine cup and drink from it, and then tell the kids, "Oh my God,
gone. Look. That's the way you gotta do it. That's the perfect way.
Yeah, they see me drink enough wine that they're not fooled anymore.
Okay.
They won't get fooled again.
They figured it out.
All right.
Big surprise. But number 5 in this set is and in comes Romeo. He's moaning, "You belong to me, I believe." Ophelia, she's 'neath the window. For her, I feel so afraid. These lines come from the song Desolation Road, the final track of what 1965 album?
Well, it's a Bob Dylan album. And what I can't remember is if it's Another Side or Bringing It All Back Home. It's one of those. It's one of those sort of before, because Blonde on Blonde is like 67, I think. So it's one of those kind of mid before, before he went electric. Jesse?
I'm not good with albums. I was hoping it was just going to be a question on what song it was. It's like, I got this. And then,
yeah.
Oh, you did have that? Oh, good.
I did recognize the lyrics.
Yeah. So, I am kind of a Dylanologist. So I will, but again, like the actual, I'm going to say Bringing It All Back Home. And I might be wrong about this.
It is not Bringing It All Back Home.
Okay.
Unfortunately. Nor was your second guess. What was that?
Another Side. Another Side was a little earlier, I think.
It was not Another Side as well.
So 65?
65.
Another Side. It's not. Shit. Oh, sorry. I swear on YouTube. Let's see. Let me think. Okay, so we have Bob Dylan. We have The Times They Are Changin'. Then we have Another Side. Then we have Bringing It All Back Home. Then we have, God, there's an album between Bringing It All Back Home and Blonde on Blonde. Maybe it is Blonde on Blonde. No, that's later.
It is also not.
It's not Blonde on Blonde. Okay.
There's some album like the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan.
The Freewheelin'. Is it the Freewheelin'? No, but that's the one that has like him and his girlfriend in Greenwich Village. That's a little earlier.
Again, I can't match the albums.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will. So it's not neither the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan. I will also say that the leading track on this album is Like a Rolling Stone.
So the album is Like a Rolling Stone.
That's the first song.
That's the first track, Like a Rolling Stone. Oh God, I can like see the track listing, and I know like, okay, so this is. All right, let me think about this. Okay, Freewheelin'.
While you do that, I have to get the cat away from my door. So hang on.
No, the cat has to be in the. So Another Side, Blonde. Bring It. Why am I not? Times Like a Rolling Stone.
I am back.
It turns out Bob Dylan has written a bunch of albums, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite Bob Dylan album is one that he put out in 1975, though, past the whole 1960s. I really think the best Bob Dylan is from in the 1970s. Probably my favorite album of all time. So, do you know what it is? This is me turning the tables.
No, I don't know what your favorite album of all time is.
It's a Bob Dylan album from the 1970s.
I don't know. We've named a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's not okay. Like, starts with Like a Rolling Stone, Blonde on Blonde, Bring It All Back Home.
I can give some more hints if you need it. You seem to have knowledge here. I'll say that the side one is Like a Rolling Stone, Tombstone Blues. It takes a lot to laugh. It takes a train to cry.
There's a train to cry.
From a Buick 6. And Ballad of a Thin Man are the first.
Right, Mr. Jones.
And then I'll also say, if you can't come up with it, you feel free to come back to the.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to that because I'm just like, I'm so annoyed. It's one of those things where like I know this so well that it's not, it's you like out of my mind.
Come back to it if you need to.
All right.
That's a hint.
It's like a really good kind of mid 60s period. It's before Blonde on Blonde. It's after Freewheeling, Another Side, Bringing It All Back Home. It's that one that's in between. All right. Yeah, it's going to frustrate me, so I want to come back to that. Does this mean we get to now turn?
I'll have to give you a large, strong hint. That is the last question.
Okay.
You can literally come back to it. As if you can leave it.
Is it Highway 61 Revisited?
It is Highway 61 Revisited.
That was what it is. Yeah, it is. Highway 61 Revisited is the Dylan.
Thank you, Jesse.
Come back to
Jesse, you're like, I'm no Bob Dylan expert, but I've got the name of the one that the Bob Dylan expert can remember.
No, but exactly right. That is the album here, and you had a extreme knowledge of many Dylan knowledge right there in the right time period. And that was an album that you did not say. You never threw it away or anything. It was
no. I know.
It just fell off, but no.
And that is the one because Blonde on Blonde is the next one, isn't it? After Highway 61.
Good on you for having these things in order. You know them in order, which is a thing that is on me. I think it'd be impressive just to know 15
You know what's going to happen? You're going to put this on YouTube and some like mansplainer in the comments is going to be like, Laura's wrong.
First of all, you're underestimating how many people are commenting on these videos, which
This takes one.
Yes, that is high praise that we're going to get some people debating.
No, seriously, every time I publicly say anything on the internet, I betcha how it's like I watch the, I'm like 5, 10, 15, yeah. But no, anyway, all right. It's our turn to ask you questions.
Right. But y'all, I will say y'all earned 3.5 points on all that. A very good score on this set. So very well done. Yeah.
Excellent.
I would say
all right.
B's, Marcel, and Parcel of Maxwell House, and then half on chance. I think I gave you too many hints on Highway 61, if that's okay. But that is
that's fine.
Yeah, that's a strong 3.5 there. Very well done.
All right.
So this is just right now. Read the 5 questions in a row.
Okay.
Yeah. So I marked 6. I mean,
I see that you
5 as 1 because I wasn't sure. You just
okay. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna skip your specialty ones because I think those are pretty hard.
No, yeah.
So I'm gonna go.
Make sure one.
Okay.
Of them,
this is actually one of my favorite questions.
We have to do one specialty one, right?
That's
do we have to do one specialty one?
One specialty in each set.
Oh, so okay. 4. So I will do a specialty one, but I want to. Can I start with this one? This is
this is your.
Yeah. Okay. Oh wait, I want to move my screen so that I can see both you guys. Because I've got this.
What makes great television is that I'm on gallery view. I have shrunk Zoom to be on the top half of my screen, and I have Excel on the bottom half. So, but no, if you
what I did manage to do is I now have my Google Doc.
There you go.
Right, and then I have we're like in a little Brady Bunch style thing here on the side. Okay, so the first question. Well, right, because okay, so the first question for you, Chris, is who was in 1844 the first U.S. presidential candidate to be assassinated? Okay, so that would be an American history question because what I did is I just to get inspired, I just used the Learned League question.
You said candidate.
Candidate, the first candidate for president to be assassinated.
Okay, sounds good.
As far as people can tell, I mean that the declared candidate.
Sure, yeah.
Right. But, okay. Yeah. The next one is a television question, and so that question is: what talk show host was born in the Highgate station of the London Underground, where his parents were sheltering from an air raid during the Blitz? And next, this is the third question. This is kind of a business and econ question. So by most metrics, Oprah Winfrey is considered to be the first Black woman billionaire, but who was the first Black woman millionaire? And both are self-made in the sense that they earned their wealth through business rather than inheriting it. Okay. Question, is this the fourth one?
Yes.
Yep.
On to 4. Okay. We would call this world history. So in 1779, a weaver near Leicester, England, smashed 2 stocking frames in a fit of protest. What was his name? And then the 5th question, which is in your specialty category, is name the English painter who is a member of the Bloomsbury Group and whose most famous works are a series of portraits of her also famous sister.
All right, so those are the first 5 questions in round 1. So if you were thinking
I guess not having, having written a lot of, I have written trivia questions, but mostly for pub trivia. So with, people who I don't expect to be like specialists.
But no, so we start back up at the top here, and if you will read out and so
first U.S. presidential candidate to be assassinated.
Right. Okay. So trying to get all these folks in order, and so
I gave you the year. It was 1844.
That's right. So William So William Henry Harrison won the election of 1840. He died in 30 days, and so it was
as
Tyler.
the song goes.
As the song goes, exactly. It was Tyler, and then it's God. This is then it'll be our 11th president. Our 11th president was James K. Polk, the one who
Napoleon of the Stump.
Napoleon is one of the Stump, exactly. So that was 18. So it would have been that election year would have been James K. Polk of 1844, and it's someone who was assassinated. And this is
and you might not know that he ran for president.
Sure, no, and so I think.
Or that at the time that this person was assassinated, you might not have known that he was a presidential candidate.
Sure. He was shocked. He shocked everyone at the time. So Polk would have been a Democrat. He was a Democrat. And so I guess it was all it was all just Whigs. You were either a Democrat or a Whig. I don't know what the third and fourth party folks were. 1844. Who was running for president back in the day? I'm trying to think who were like first half of the 19th century assassinations. Like Joseph Smith died sometime in that range there in Illinois. I don't know when he died though. 1823. A man named Joe lived on a hill in the Holy Land of Rochester, New York, as your neck of the woods. That's the only. I'm trying to think. Yes, Laura.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Where you were. You were.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe he probably would have been doing everything. And then, like, I don't even know. People run for president now in the 2020 election. Like, you can look on Wikipedia and find like all the people that are running for president who had like failed 60-day campaigns that went nowhere. I am going 44. I don't have a strong inclination on this. I would say Joseph Smith was the guy, and around that time, I don't have anything better. I will say Joseph Smith is my guess for this.
Can I answer this by quoting from an article that recently was written about this campaign? I'm going to answer you. I'm going to tell you. So I'm going to quote from an article. This was actually in the New Yorker last week. There was a book review of a book about this campaign. And the sentence from this article that I loved, which I was like, oh, I totally have to include this as a question, was, if he'd been elected president, the nation's cumulative total of first ladies would have instantly tripled.
That's funny.
So good job. I mean, good job. Just like, I had no idea he ran for president, right?
No, I mean, like, I knew he was involved with everything. I think the way that basically anybody that was famous before Lincoln were involved in every facet of American life. Like everyone, like you were a businessman, you were an author, you were a farmer. Nobody did like one thing. Basically, if you were notable of the 100 people that were famous before 1860, you did everything. And Joseph Smith, like that seems right. And funny. Yeah, and I didn't know the year it was Nauvoo, Illinois is the
Carthage, actually. So Nauvoo is where they started, their like community, but he was it's sort of unclear. It's like he was inciting riots and stuff. Right. And so he was taken to jail in Carthage, Illinois, and then was killed in a riot, or he was lynched essentially. And he was actually born pretty near to where I live, so just across the river in Vermont.
Right. No, like I said,
which is now a pilgrimage site.
And Rochester, New York, as I pointed out, which is the homeland there. And I am not. I am a Methodist, but I'm glad I have my Mormonism knowledge down. That was very exciting.
It's absolutely fascinating. The whole thing was really fascinating.
Oh yeah. And I think I've heard that's funny about the first lady. I've heard the line by Brigham Young saying he was the most married man I've ever known. I forgot some person said that, and like just that's more of a numerical truth than it is like a statement. But the most married man you ever knew, which is there you go.
Yeah,
I'm excited. That was right. Whew. All right, one Mormon question down. Let's see.
All right, talk show host.
Yes. So
we're in the Highgate station of the London Underground.
That is right. So during the Blitz time, and
his parents were sheltering from an air raid.
That's right, and there are a number of prominent British talk show hosts, but I believe this man would not find his fame in Britain and would eventually become the mayor of the city of Cincinnati, Ohio. And this would be Jerry Springer is the person that was born there in London.
Very good.
Yeah. And,
this actually came up last week. I was playing Cards Against Humanity virtually. It was like a knockoff or something called like Remote Insensitivity.
Nice.
And somehow something about talk show hosts came up, and one of my friends randomly said, "Oh, what are those talk show host guys from the 80s? He was like born in the London tube station." And I was like, yes, that's a good trivia question.
I like how Jerry Springer is a talk show host of the 80s. Like that, I wouldn't exactly put him in the, I think like Donahue is more of a 80s talk show host than Jerry Springer. But but Jerry Springer would be the mayor of Cincinnati.
Morton Downey Jr. was the Jerry Springer.
That's right. That's right.
A good talk show
I always would get mixed up with Robert Downey Jr., but they're really...
Apparently separate people.
Different people.
But Jerry Springer would be the subject of the West End based musical Jerry Springer the Opera, which is
excellent.
Yeah, and
but apparently he's one of only 2 people out to be born in a tube station. This friend also, I did not confirm that, but
famous people born in a tube station.
I guess I don't know who the other person might have.
I bet there were probably other
people. Must have been.
I'm sure there were.
There
given how much time people spent.
Yes, it was a while. Maybe it just did not reach, international success. And my other talk show trivia fun fact is under Jeremy's line. You know what James Corden's middle name is?
James Corden?
Yep.
Is it James?
It is not. That would not be that. It is Kimberly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a fun fact, but no, an actual British talk show host. James Corden. Not Jerry Springer.
Well, now American talk show host. Yes. I mean, British person hosting an American talk show.
America's paying his bills. So
yeah. All right. Oh, the next question was 1779. This is world history. A weaver.
Skip one here.
Oh, do we skip one? Oh shit. Okay.
Business.
Sorry. Business. Oh, talk shows. Oprah Winfrey, first Black woman billionaire, but who was the first Black woman millionaire?
Okay, so I'm gonna level with y'all here because I heard this question. That's all very good. I was wondering. I thought this question might have gone to who was the first African American male billionaire, and it's the I forget his name, but he's a major magazine publisher. I think
Johnson.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was it. And then you went with first self-made African American female millionaire, and problem is that the answer is the name of a woman who created her own line of selling cosmetics or something along that, like an Avon type company. And that woman has a name, and I know I've seen it, and I've been trying to see if that name can come up, and I haven't found it yet. And I know that's who it is. Like I'm almost positive that's who it is. I don't have anybody else in mind of it being another person. Like it's that woman, and but I don't have it, and I can't.
There's a Netflix series actually that just came out about her.
Yeah, I knew there was
starring Octavia Spencer.
That's right. I even knew. Yeah, that I even heard that, and I just I don't have.
I'm just gonna say this is a person with a name is how I feel looking at about half of the Learn League questions, and I always think that name's going to come to me at some point.
This is I do. I don't have this one. I think her name is a very straightforward name. It's not it's all like biblical first name. It's something like nothing fancy. It's like a Mary type name, and I don't have it. I know who this is, but I don't have her name. I think I'm gonna have.
Do you want? And you've got the right business. Do you know about when? What's your sense of when the era was?
I think it's like 1910s or something around like early 20th century. I don't think it's even like middle. I think it's like very much the first. Like I think the 1910s, 1920s or so. But I think her name is a 3-name person. Like blank.
Depends on what you consider a name.
I got you.
Honorific.
I don't have this.
Would it help to say her name? What she's usually known as starts with an honorific?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's like
Okay.
it's like either lady or madam. It's one of those two, I think. But I don't.
Do you want to give up now, or
it's yes. There it is. Is it Madam C.J. Walker?
Very good.
Very good.
Oh,
I
oh God, I can't even believe
God, do I wish that Learn League worked this way, where you could just converse and you're like, it's on the tip of my tongue. If only I had a conversation with somebody about
that.
it.
That is extremely good. I would not have had if I was not spotted Madam. I would not have come up with that.
Yeah.
DJ, that's I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's good. And actually, it was very common to use Madam or Lady if you were marketing cosmetics in those days, or hair care products. And it was hair care products actually, because at the time most Black hair care was at the home, right? And there weren't any real products that were marketed for women to take care of themselves. So so she was one of the first, and there was actually a competing business apparently at the time. So really, really interesting. Yeah.
That's I knew that was her. I knew this was her story, and I had forgotten about Taylor Spencer, but I knew that was she's certainly a famous person, and I just was Madam C.J. Walker, and I'm very glad. I don't know how the synopsis connected there.
your neurons.
To come up with Madam to get C.J. Walker as well. That's not an inferable name. You have to know that name, which is exciting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking. That is what this game is all about, is people finding fun answers like that somewhere in the back of their minds. That is good. But I'll take half credit on that. Absolutely.
Okay. You're keeping score. I don't really care.
Yes. I can. Yeah.
All right. Jesse, what's our next question?
The world history. In 1779, a weaver near Leicester, England, smashed 2 stocking frames in a fit of protest. What was his name?
I assume last name might be fine. If
that's your show, so
yeah, sure. No, depends on how finicky y'all are. I believe this was the start of a revolution, and not the one that was going on in America at the time. And this anti-tech person, because looming was such a strong tech industry of the 18th century, that was the devil's work. Was their Facebook was weaving fabrics, and I believe the Luddites were led by a man named Ludd, whatever the name Ludd is, and I think this is Mr. Ludd is the person that led the Luddites.
His first name was Ned, actually, and it's really unclear whether he was a real person or was sort of invented. What I discovered, which was so interesting, is that the band Chumbawamba, you know who they are?
Yes.
The very famous song that is
really
a total which is so they're actually this kind of like anarchist collective. So that song was a total outlier in some ways to be such a a catchy hit from 1998. So they did a whole album called English Rebel Songs 1381 to 1984. They were really more like Billy Bragg or somebody like that. And so they have a song about him from that, the late 18th century. So
that's good.
So that's another interesting aspect of that.
I guess heritage. 2 points. Ned Ludd, I hope's a real name, because if it was a made up name, that's sad. The best name they came up with was Ned Ludd. That's just not good writing. At least be I don't know, Jeremiah Ludd or something more interesting than Ed Ludd.
Well, he could have. There's some research says he might have been named Edward Luddard or something. I have to go back to the article.
That's also funny. Edward Luddard is a good name. And then Chumbawamba. I think I knew they were anarchists. I wonder how it feels to sell out, to be an anarchist union, and then to have the thing you're known for is the poppy hit of Tub Thumping. It's I guess it pays the bills. I guess they have to sell it every now and then so they can write their albums about anarchy, which is
it pays the bills. And then they went back to selling 500 copies of an album about anarchy. So.
There you go, boom. But Chumbawamba, there you go.
And the poor Luddites have been slandered through history.
That's right.
Not so much anti-tech is just anti-getting ripped off by the owners of the tech.
Yeah, there's true technology, and then there's the weaving, which I don't believe is ultra high tech. That is I guess it was the best they could do. Trains were coming around that time or so, but
it was they were taking skilled work and making it into repetitive factory type work, and all the money was going to the owners.
Ned Ludd.
To the artisans. Yeah.
A good name, Ned Ludd.
All right. So speaking of artisans, so this is a Bloomsbury Group English painter, and her most famous works are a series of portraits of her sister.
So, I don't immediately have an answer for this. Bloomsbury Group is a bunch of folks I'm not super knowledgeable about. I know, I think the main people of the Bloomsbury Group, I think Virginia Woolf is one of them. I think Virginia Woolf is one of the Bloomsbury Group people. Not sure if George Eliot's in that same group of people. I don't really know who's who. I'm almost positive Virginia Woolf is one of them.
I keep wanting to say there's a penguin in that, but that was, I think, a comic strip.
Yes, exactly. There's certainly a Bloomsbury definitely rings more closer to that. Then it's like Virginia. So it is Virginia Woolf. It's going to be someone, but it's whose series of paintings depicting an author? It's going to be this woman's most famous series is, besides it being her sister, it would be of an author. And I'm trying to think of artists whose most famous works are of an author, much less the one they're related to. Of course, I didn't say. Could you repeat the question so I can get it all again?
Name the English painter, a member of the Bloomsbury Group, whose most famous works are a series of portraits of her sister.
Yes, so it's two women here. The artist is the woman is the one woman is an author. Her sister, also a woman, is the painter. And this is I'm trying to
let me know when you want hints.
Yeah, I haven't stumbled upon anything yet. No, I'm gonna have to take a hint on this.
Okay, so I have two hints for you. They're both about film. She was portrayed in two different films. There was a film in 1995 about another Bloomsbury Group painter, not her.
Okay.
In which she was portrayed by Janet McTeer. That was in 1995.
Okay.
Do you want the second hint too?
Yes, that.
Okay. There was another film in 2002. That film was about her sister, the sister that she painted. And in that film, she was this painter was played by Miranda Richardson. And I would say it's a little bit of a stretch to say the film was about her sister. It was sort of about her sister in a kind of postmodern way.
Sure. You unfortunately named two actresses who I'm not terribly familiar with their who they are, what their works are. So this is this is not ringing strong bells for me. I'm trying to think like who are the Bloomsbury people. That's all British. Bloomsbury's British. That's who British people.
It's a neighborhood of London.
Right, yeah. And so it's going to be a British female painter and a British female author of around 1900 or so.
Famous enough that there have been movies.
Right, yeah. No, that's man, I feel like I should definitely know either the paintings of the woman or at least like the prose or poetry of the other person, and I don't know. I might need another hint on the
okay, so
What's the author's like some of their works?
You have mentioned the author, which is like the most famous author of the Bloomsbury Group.
So it is Virginia Woolf?
Yes.
Okay, so it's Virginia Woolf's sister is the question.
Yeah,
here.
it's Virginia Woolf's sister.
That is not clicking into place of Virginia Woolf's sister. I don't think Naomi is the sister of Virginia.
No.
No, yeah. I don't have this. I don't.
You said before it rang a bell.
Sure. I that wasn't me being punny though. I don't know.
Do you want me to tell you who it is?
If you would, yes.
Her name is Vanessa Bell.
Vanessa Bell.
And the 1995 film was actually about Dora Carrington, who is another Bloomsbury Group painter.
Right, I did know. Yeah, the Carrington. I did know a little bit more about that, but I did not.
Yeah, so Janet McTeer played Vanessa Bell in that film, and then the 2002 film is The Hours, which is the film where what is it, Julianne Moore and is it Nicole Kidman who plays Virginia Woolf in that movie?
I think it's Nicole Kidman, yeah.
Yeah, and she had like a gigantic nose, like prosthetic nose, right? And Miranda Richardson played Vanessa Bell, and they were really close. And like all of those, so Vanessa Bell actually is really interesting because she had this relationship with Lytton Strachey, who is like the author of Eminent Victorians and like another sort of very famous person in that. But Vanessa Bell ended up marrying Lytton Strachey's lover and living with the two of them in kind of a menage a trois for like 40 years or something. But she's a really interesting character. And like Woolf was like very, they had this kind of really codependent relationship, which I think the Hours did a nice job of portraying. And it was actually one of Vanessa's sons who wrote one of the biographies of Virginia Woolf.
That's all very good. Yeah, I think I said the name Vanessa Bell. I was not being punny when I said it rang a bell. That's very unfortunate that I that looked like I was being clever, but unfortunately
it was funny. I was just like,
that was just riffing. That was not.
It was totally random. Yeah.
That. But
well, I'm glad I stumped you.
No, that's good. That's all very good. Like I said, these are very well written stuff, and I will take my 3.5 on that. So I had 3.5 there. So right now we both have 3.5, and if you're playing at home, you may have done better than us. Congratulations on that. But we'll start with round 2 now as we go to y'all. So here it is, the 5 questions for the first half here. Number 1 is the Amtrak route that travels through the most U.S. states is the Crescent, which travels between Penn Station and New York to what southern city? Number 2, in 2019, the film studio belonging to Hasbro was renamed from Hasbro Studios to what new name? Named after the cubic structure in the Transformers franchise, a mystical artifact that brings life to machines. Number 3, The Smashers Mail and the Hatchet, a bi-weekly newsletter and a newspaper respectively. A bi-weekly newsletter and a newspaper respectively were published by what historical figure who died in Leavenworth, Kansas in 1911? Number 4 is I just took the Myers-Briggs personality quiz, and it turns out my personality is to be alphabetically first, which means given 2 possible results, I like the one first alphabetically. What is my 4-letter result? And number 5 is this is a 2-part question here. Number 5 is name the 1985 film which the 3 children Taro, Yuro, and Saburo are there to divide Father Hidetora's land, and name the 1997 film whose 3 children Jenny, Rose, and Caroline are there to divide Father Larry's land. So those are the 5 questions in round 2. If you're playing along, you can pause it here and you can play whenever you're ready. We'll start back from the top. Number 1 is the Amtrak route that travels through the most U.S. states is the Crescent, which travels between Penn Station in New York to what southern city?
So
I have an idea for this. Do you have one, Jesse?
I believe it's New Orleans, but I feel like I heard that once.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Crescent City.
That does seem like a good place for something called the Crescent to go.
Yeah.
And this is the exact right reasoning there. The Crescent Amtrak route does travel from Penn Station to New Orleans, and it is the one with the most stops. I'm trying to see. It travels through 12 states and the District of Columbia, and is the third longest route in the East. But that is the exact trainway there. I am not. I have sadly never been on the Amtrak. It is not as feasible currently in South Carolina.
You've never been on Amtrak?
No. That's how it goes, unfortunately.
Did you know? Here's something. Did you know the train from Chicago to New Orleans? Do you know what it's called?
Probably something clever. I do not know what this is.
It's a song. Also, the name of a song. Just do you know what that is?
I know the song.
It's the same as the title of the song.
Isn't it just the city of New Orleans?
It is the city of New Orleans.
That's the name of it.
Singing Spirit of for a second.
Oh, nice.
No, I remember
that. Yeah.
Notably, Columbia, South Carolina does not play well with Amtrak. So Amtrak visits Columbia at 3:30 in the morning once a day, and the only time it comes and visits. So it's Amtrak.
That's a little difficult.
I am a little jealous of you Northeasterners who trains are more fun. That is a thing that's around, and when like people like Mike being like, took the train to the crossword puzzle tournament. It's like, oh, shut up. That's just rubbing it in. I had to like.
Amtrak comes to Rochester, I believe, twice a day.
Okay, yeah.
In each direction, and the tracks from Albany to Rochester, then on to Buffalo and Cleveland, whatever, are not owned by Amtrak, so there are often long delays for freight trains to go by.
Yeah,
I've not taken Amtrak anywhere here.
So in my actual town, all the railways are turned into rail trails, but there is a train called the Vermonter that comes up to White River Junction, Vermont from New York City once a day.
That's good. So, that's nice.
Yeah.
And the Vermonter is a very good name. But well done. That is New Orleans, the exact right, the Crescent City. Number 2 is in 2019, the film studio belonging to Hasbro was renamed from Hasbro Studios to what new name? Named after the cubic structure in the Transformers franchise, a mystical artifact that brings life to machines.
So I have seen about 15 minutes of a Transformers movie, and it included this cube. I do not remember the name at all.
I know, isn't Optimus Prime, that's like the hero, right?
That's
like the Obi-Wan Kenobi that's like the Gandalf of the Transformers.
Sure. Yes. I'm not exactly sure how right that is, but we'll say sure to that. Yeah.
I have to say, like, luckily my kids were like at the exact wrong age to be into Transformers, either the movies or the actual toys.
Sure.
So that's a bullet we dodged.
To watch the cartoons a lot as a kid, which did not feature this cube thing.
Mystical cube thing.
They did not bother with the backstory on how transforming robots came to life.
Got you. I've never really seen
more than meets the eye.
That's right.
They're robots in disguise.
That's true. Was it 80? Like, I never really seen any of the 80s cartoons. I have seen
They were bad, but
sure. I have seen the Shia LaBeouf trilogy. I have seen all 3, and I saw the first Wahlberg film as well. I did not see the second one or Bumblebee, but I have seen, I guess, the 4 movies of the current franchise.
I did not realize there were that many.
I heard that Bumblebee is actually pretty good as a standalone Transformers movie, and just he's like, sure,
why not?
This is.
I'm gonna give up on this one actually.
I will say that if I said the first 2 letters are ALL, would it help?
The All-Father, the All-Cube, the All...
It is all something. And it is
all-knowing, all-living,
all-American. Yeah, it is a little... Yeah, you like, spotted that, you're still not... It's called the All-Spark. The All-Spark.
No, never would have gotten that. No.
I didn't know if y'all had any family members that would have been watching the Transformers movies. Or,
no.
The All-Spark.
No, my kids are even younger and thankfully don't know these things exist.
Don't go sleeping on some Transformers movies. I will say, like, the first three are pretty solid. They're just fun. It's large robots destroying each other. Like,
yeah, that's good. I mean, yeah, that is
like
good.
it's not high art, but it's pretty kick-ass. You know,
Isn't John Turturro a government agent?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like it.
Isn't Shia LaBeouf in all of them?
He's in the first three. Right, he's in the first three. He's Sam Witwicky is the main character, and he's in all three of the first trilogy. And then
Megan Fox was in a few, but
she was in the first two, and then there was a
different fight with the director and
something, and then the third one has a different woman instead. And but no, yeah, exactly. John Turturro is like a government agent, and lots of like Josh Duhamel is like a character. Anthony Anderson's a character in a number of the first three. It's they're solid. Oh, but The Allspark is the movie for
Allspark.
Number 3 is The Smasher's Mail and The Hatchet, a bi-weekly newsletter and a newspaper, respectively, were published by what historical figure who died in Leavenworth, Kansas in 1911?
So I think I just figured this out. My first thought hearing Leavenworth was that this person would have died in military prison. But I believe this would be Carrie Nation, who went around smashing things with a hatchet.
I will I'll go for that too. Sounds good.
And Leavenworth, not only is it where the U.S. Penitentiary is, it is also a city in Kansas. And this woman was born in Kansas, died in Kansas, and she is Carrie Nation. That was her. Carrie A. Nation is what her middle initial was, and that's what she liked to think. They're all nations served except for Carrie was a popular sign during the temperance era of any all nations served except for Carrie, because she decided to destroy establishments with her stuff. And but no, that was all her publications that she had produced were about destroying wood shops. That was what she liked.
I mean, that's good branding there.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, exactly right. But no, exactly. Leavenworth, Kansas, sounding like a military figure, but no, it was in fact the city in Kansas where people live, and presumably, where the army people go and shop when they're not on base. However, all that works, I'm sure. Any base city might be. Yep, Carrie Nation, exactly right. Number 4 is about the Myers-Briggs personality quiz, and it turns out my personality is to be alphabetically first, which means given 2 possible results, I like the one that is first alphabetically. So what is my 4-letter result? So as you've got to imagine, there's technically 4 parts to this answer, and you gotta get them all.
So my Myers-Briggs is INTJ. Jesse, what's yours?
I forget if my joke was that it was TLDR or NSFW, but
no, we had a conversation about this.
We had, and I confirmed that I have never bothered to take the test or remember my results when I did take. I did take the test once for a job thing, the career advice that I was given when I was laid off from one job. So we'll pay for this career advice consultant, and he had me take the test, and I completely forget what any of it was. I know E and I are extrovert and introvert.
Yeah, and I'm going to imagine that Chris is an extrovert. I mean, I would say that even without him taking the test. So I would say E is our first one.
By the way, I will say I don't really know what my result is. This is something I've just I posed this question for y'all. I really don't know what my.
But no, you totally are. You totally are. Okay, I know. So it's introvert, extrovert, and then N is intuitive. And I can't remember what the other one is, but the N stands for intuitive, and I know that's what mine is. I know that the T, it's either thinking, feeling. So the next one is F. The third one is F. And the last one is judging, perceiving. So it's got to be J. Yeah, so it's E something F J. So I just cannot remember what the counterpart to intuitive is. So it's judging, perceiving is the last one. Thinking, feeling is the third one. And it's intuitive. What would be the opposite of that to a kind of dodgy psychologist?
Like analyzing? No.
E.
I feel like it's another
Intuitive
consonant.
sensing? It's not sensing.
Is it? Do we have an S? Isn't S one of the letters?
Oh, it might be S. It might be intuitive sensing. So it's ENFJ would probably be the first alphabetically.
That sounds good to me.
Intuitive sensing, thinking, feeling, perceiving, judging. Yeah, let's go for ENFJ.
Going ENFJ as my Myers-Briggs personality here.
Yeah, that's my answer.
That is the right answer. It is ENFJ, and you have exactly said all the 8 parts. It is extroversion, introversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, judging, and perceiving. And those are you have the exact right combinations there.
I still think Jesse's are better.
ISTP would be the polar opposite type person.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, ENFJ. I also don't know what my mine.
What your actual one was?
Yeah.
So here's a funny thing. This was a couple years ago. I think it was Eric Agard and Paolo Pasco put together like a mini puzzle that was like a Schrodinger puzzle where like depending on how you answer the puzzle.
4x4 grid, right?
Yes, it would be a series of Myers-Briggs. Yeah.
Exactly, and part of it was you had to know what your personality was so you could fill in the top one across. Because I mean, like, the 4 downs were correctly 4 Schrodinger clues that had different letters for each one. Extremely well written. But yeah, personality quiz is not a thing I'm very good at. I know people some people really swear by Myers-Briggs. Hopefully you have fun if you do that. I'm not.
No, I think they're about, it's like astrology or the Enneagram or something. It's like they are written vaguely enough that you can probably apply them to anybody if somebody told you that's what you are.
I will say that for horoscope, I will certainly say that I was certainly born on a certain day of the calendar year. So at least I know what horoscope I'm under, unlike a Myers-Briggs personality where I feel like, depending on circumstances, I might change out of one to the other. At least I know I was born in October, like that.
No, I will say though that I have taken Myers-Briggs a bunch of different times, and I actually the NTJ, like the intuitive thinking and judging, I am always like very solidly those things, but I switch back and forth between extroverted and introverted.
Sure.
As I've gotten older, I tend to be more I tend to test more introverted.
Right. And I recall
actually it's very common. Sorry, go ahead.
Because I recall from the test I took that on I think 2 of the categories I was maybe 1 question to whichever side I ended up with, and that had I taken it an hour later I could have switched.
And you see grids of like other folks. Well, they say that would have been the same type of category. And the thing is, they all have like good people in them, like but they're like, turns out you have the same Myers-Briggs as any number of famous
Attila the Hun.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not just like, oh, here are all the heroes, here are all the villains, and like one of the 16, But right, very well done.
Yeah.
You kind of laughed at it, but you had all the correct knowledge of what the letters were. So there you go.
Right. And I looked it up. When I did tweet a joke about it, I put TLDR as my type.
Nice.
And a friend of mine put SMDH as his type.
Also good. Very well done. And then number 5 is our Shakespeare question. Was named a 1985 film whose 3 children, Taro, Yero, and Saburo, are there to divide Father Hidetora's land. And then the 1997 film whose 3 children, Jenny, Rose, and Caroline, are there to divide Father Larry's land.
So I know
the second one. Oh, you know both of them? You say the first one.
So the first one is Ron by Akira Kurosawa. His second best movie based on a Shakespeare play.
The second is a novel by James Smiley that was made into a film, and it's 1,000 Acres.
Yes, starring Anthony Hopkins and I forget who else.
I actually don't have the names of the actors and actresses that played these 8 people, but exactly right. These are 2 King Lear adaptations, and probably the more critical hit is Ron by Akira Kurosawa, and the 97 film is 1,000 Acres, which is set in the Heartland. But that is the 2 films there, Ron and 1,000 Acres. Very well done. Good. That was our film question there, and that was no problem at all. I don't know if I can make that easier about taking the years out. I feel like you still would have gotten still would have felt good about King Lear adaptations. And
I think we would have gotten that.
But the years are there. Very well done.
In fact, I had no idea what year Ron was from.
So. Would you have guessed 85? or anything within.
Yeah, or 75. I would have
Sure,
believed either one.
But no, very well done. Ron, 1,000 Acres. Good Shakespeare knowledge.
Right. Let's. Should we move on?
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Move ahead. It's already 10:30 p.m. here on the East Coast. Okay, great. We've got round 2 for you. We had round 2 for us, right? That's what that was.
That's what
right.
it was.
Okay. All right. So here's a food drink question for you, Chris.
Be right back.
A restaurant in Ithaca, New York, spawned a cookbook empire that influenced many chefs, home cooks, and crunchy young folks living in ramshackle cooperative housing on the outskirts of college towns. What's the name of this restaurant and its namesake vegetarian cookbook, first published as a handwritten booklet in 1974? The next question is a games and sports question. It's a little historical too. So it's named the British explorer who made an attempt on Mount Everest in 1924 and may have summited after having last been seen about 800 feet from the summit. Next question is a film question. February 9th, 2020, Taika Waititi became the most recent person of Indigenous descent to win an Academy Award. In the same sort of year of awards, Wes Studi was granted an honorary award at an October 2019 ceremony, but who was the first person of Indigenous descent to win an Academy Award? And then this is a literature question. The narrators of Charlotte Perkins Gilman's The Yellow Wallpaper, Marcel Proust's In Search of Lost Time, and Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man all have what relatively uncommon quality in common? What is it? So it's the narrators of those 3 novels have this in common. And then for your art question, name the American painter and cartoonist known for her primitive style in cartooning and her mixed media collage style in painting, whose early publications in alt weekly newspapers led to 2 novels and a recent series of workbooks on cartooning.
So those are the 5 questions in round 2.
Those are the 5 questions of round 2.
So pause if you want to think about it, and we will start back up at the top with number 1, if you would read that all again.
Yes. A restaurant in Ithaca, New York spawned a cookbook empire that influenced many chefs, home cooks, and crunchy young folks living in ramshackle cooperative housing on the outskirts of college towns. No comment as to whether that was once me. What is the name of this restaurant and its namesake vegetarian cookbook, first published as a handwritten booklet in 1974?
Oh God, this is really not my food trivia, unfortunately.
But come on, you live in a college town. Well, I understand that the college towns of the South are not the same as the college towns of the Northeast.
I know that's all fair, but one, I'm not much of a cookbook person. And then
okay.
2, I'm not much of a veggie cook. I'm not much of a veggie veggie side. I do know there is a preeminent vegetarian cookbook. I'm trying to think of what its name is, and that's the only guess I'd have if I could come up with the name of that. So I don't know if it's even that one. I just know that there's a vegetarian cookbook, but I don't even know what it is. Like, I know there is one, but I'm not sure what its name is. And I think that might be the answer to this question. And but yeah, I'm not much of a cook. When it comes to cookbooks, that's not. Ithaca, New York. I don't know what the local Ithaca restaurants are. That's man.
The other crossword Chris would know that one.
I'm sure. Yes. Turns out he went to Cornell. Ever heard of it?
Do you want some hints?
Yes, I will gladly take it.
All right. There's a sequel to this book called The Enchanted Broccoli Forest.
Yeah, I think it is this. I think it is the name of this.
And it's handwritten. I mean, it's still, even when it was published, it was handwritten. It looked handwritten. Yeah.
Man, like it was like a fly. Like, oh man. But
I can give you more hints too that kind of get to. All right. So the cookbook title and the restaurant name is a compound word. The first word in the compound word is also the first word of a city in Saskatchewan.
So we have a friend that lives up that way. What are the names of the towns in Saskatchewan? Regina is the capital. And man, there's another one up there. I haven't even blanking on this. God, I'm my Canada. Y'all live up that way. Y'all live up in the north, where Canada's a hop over
and a butter and a butter.
Yeah. Across a river, you'll see Canada waving at you.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I can see it from my house.
Lake for me, but
sure, that's close. That's still close. I will say, the entire Appalachian Trail is in between me and Canada right now. So, yeah, I might even need another hint on this because I'm still.
All right, so there's a compound word, and the second word in the title of the restaurant and the name of the cookbook is a substance harvested from trees.
Sap, syrup, wood. Maybe it's wood.
I have it right here in my hand.
The cookbook or the substance?
Mm-hmm, the cookbook.
I might have to give on this. I'm not sure. I mean, I could start guessing nouns and names, but I don't think I have this.
Okay.
I'll like to see your book. I like to see.
All right.
Moosewood, man. I think that cover looks.
And here's its handwritten. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. I see it comes in and out. Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Moosewood. Yeah, I have seen that. I think I've even asked before, but yeah, it's just Moosewood.
And in fact, the cookbooks are not connected to the restaurant anymore. The author of them,
maybe not anymore.
Collective.
Yeah.
There are other Moosewood cookbooks published by the restaurant.
Got you. That's fair.
But these, Anyway, I just looked it up. The closest part of Canada is 53 miles from where I am right now.
That's close. That is ultra close.
Not Saskatchewan. That's pretty far.
No, that's far away. Canada in general, that's but no. That's,
I would say I'm not much more than 53 miles from Canada.
Yeah. Moosewood. I think I've seen that, but I don't think I had that. I'm almost positive.
I was like, because I know, when Jesse and I are a little older than you, and when I know it was like, if you ever went to dinner at somebody's off-campus house, that was like the one cookbook that they would have.
I mean, I'm sure
or like if some people were living like a collective or something,
right.
They would always be cooking like some tofu extravaganza from that, something with lentils or something. And so, but I wasn't sure if it kind of hung on in the next generations.
Right. I mean, I certainly don't know. I can certainly ask folks that I know that, do more cooking than I do. I sadly don't do much cooking. And so,
okay.
Yeah, but that's a famous thing. I know
most vegetarians would know it,
exactly. I'm sure,
oh, this lentil soup I made you for dinner, it's from Moosewood.
I knew it was the preeminent book of veggie cookbooks, but I just didn't know Moosewood. And Moose is the name of a town in Saskatchewan.
Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Yeah.
I actually grew up with a copy of the Enchanted Broccoli Forest in our house, and my parents would make things from it occasionally.
That's good. Moose.
But they were not really hippies in any way.
Yeah. Sure. There you go. Moosewood. A good question. I just, that's fantastic.
That really was like, I need a food question. I have my home office is on my dining room table. And I literally looked up at my shelf. I was like, oh, that would be a good one.
Yeah. My food and drink question was the Maxwell House question.
Right. Very timely.
That was a very, very good question. Moosewood.
All right. Man. All right, so our next question is about the explorer who made the attempt on Everest and didn't, as far as we know, did not make it. Maybe.
Made an attempt on Mount Everest in 1924 and may have summited after having last been seen about 800 feet from the summit.
So I'm trying to think why I should know this answer, and I've been trying to work on that. So there's a number of early 20th century explorers. Like I know, like Shackleton and folks along those, like some of those like Arctic and Antarctic explorers, and it's not crazy to think that, the Everest and other things like that are in the same neck of the woods. I don't know when Shackleton, where he died. I want to say he died. I thought he was one of them folks died near Antarctica, notably. I'm not sure if it was Shackleton or not. I don't know if Shackleton dying. And then
I'm pretty sure Shackleton did die at some point.
I bet he did.
That was quite a while ago.
Such a long.
I feel like it'd be known if he was still alive today. People would know.
Very impressive. Yeah.
The famous, I've always heard the funny joke is if Betsy Ross was alive today, what would she be best known for? And it's for living to be 300 years old, which is and I know there's only one other answer I have, and I'm trying to remember this person's name, and it would be a funny answer if this is it. I don't even know if this person's late 20th. I think this person was late. Reinhold something, like Reinhold Messner or something like that. It's like the name of the. I think he's the namesake of a Ben Folds album, and it's about this. The guy's name's the name of the album. I don't have much of the album, though. I don't know.
You want some hints?
Yeah. Is this person famous for other thing or what?
No.
Yeah. This is what he did.
I mean, he fought in World War One.
Sure.
But
lots
pretty
of
much
British
famous for.
Imagine being a British explorer in the 1910s and you didn't fight in the World War One.
Well, right. Well, he survived. So he survived World War One, and then so when we say that he was last seen, it means he was never seen again.
Right. Right.
His body was identified in 1999. Because if you die on Everest, usually they just leave you there.
Of course, there's no bringing you down.
And you get pretty well preserved.
They become landmarks, like Green Boots, the most famous landmark.
Pretty much, yeah.
And if you're like 10 feet off the trail, no one's going to go looking for you there.
Exactly, yeah.
There was at least one expedition specifically to find him, and they did. And they were able to identify from things in his pockets. But here's a closer hint. I have two hints that actually get at his name. His name actually phonetically has some of the same phonemes as one of the first people who was confirmed as having summited Everest in the 1950s.
Okay.
So do you know who is who are the two people who were confirmed as summiting it?
Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay are the two folks that did it.
So his last name is similar to one of their names. In a way, it has some of the same phonemes in it.
I don't know. I'm looking at the four words and trying to figure out which one is the most likely candidate. And Edmund Hillary. I mean, Tenzing Norgay aren't exactly British sounding names. Edmund and Hillary certainly are more.
Hillary was actually from New Zealand.
Right, he was from New Zealand, but in terms of British names, Edmund and Hillary are closer than Tenzing and Norgay.
And unrelated to the names here, but when they did find his body, some reporter called up Edmund Hillary and said, "Well, what do you think if maybe he was the first?" And he said, "Getting back down is part of it."
What a bummer thing to say, but he's right. That's an exact correct statement. That's a bummer to say out loud. Just can't go there. I mean, if you get to the top, you are the first person to make it there, whether or not you come back.
Well, you mentioned the South Pole. I mean, they think that, that Scott actually made it to the South Pole, but he didn't make it back. And Roald Amundsen did and made it back.
Yeah. Scott did make it to the South Pole because they took photos of Amundsen's tent and flag that they had left there as a marker.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna give you one more hint. His last name is the former first name. Some people call this the dead name of the writer now known as Daniel Ortberg. Do you know who Daniel Ortberg is?
No.
Also actually known as Daniel Lavery.
Yes, now known as Daniel Lavery.
But recently published as Daniel Ortberg.
Sure.
Yes. And writes for Slate as their advice columnist.
Sure. This is not.
Okay. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
In the interest of moving.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So the explorer was George Mallory. George Mallory, Mallory.
Sure. Oh, I thought Mallory was closer. I should have just guessed George Mallory. I don't know why I even do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the one who famously said he was climbing it because it was there.
I didn't.
It was there, and he is still there.
So I didn't realize that was 30 years before Hillary and Norgay. I should have just guessed. That's a bummer. I just didn't start naming the only other person I know who climbed Mount Everest.
Well, John Krakauer.
Yeah, I would.
And in fact, Reinhold Messner, who was the first to do it alone.
There you go. I knew he was a person. Yeah, I knew he was a guy that did it.
It's it's like one of those things. It's like the Dylan question, where you know a lot about the topic and you're just like circling it like sharks.
I should just guess George Mallory.
Yeah,
Man, that's a bummer.
And the other explorer you're looking for is Ernest Shackleton was the one who died in South Georgia Island planning a new expedition.
Right, because it was hard to get to the South Pole.
And he's also an explorer who did not fight in World War I because he and his ship were stuck in ice for most of it. Although he may have fought a little at the end. They all came home from being rescued and went and joined the military, and one of them was sunk like 6 weeks later, his ship.
I'm worried.
All of that. And
I'm worried that that was a question I should have gotten, because the other ones I'm not 100% sure on. So that was George Mallory was the one I definitely I'm hurting on that one. That's gonna be the one that's like, man, that's a bummer. Let's go to number 3 and see what's.
All right. So this is a film one. So Taika Waititi was the most recent person of Indigenous descent to win the Academy Award. Best Screenwriting, Original Screenwriting, adapted screenplay for Jojo Rabbit, I believe.
Right.
So who is the first person of Indigenous descent to win an Academy Award?
I am trying to remember this. I'm pretty sure. Well, I think that I haven't seen the movie, but there was a Native American actor that appeared that I believe maybe won supporting actor, or at least nominated. I think he won for Dancing with Wolves. And I think that's right. And I'm very certain that this man shares his name with another famous person. And I know that because I wrote like a trivia quiz about people that shared the exact same name with other, like 2 celebrities that shared their names with the same thing. And now I'm struggling to come up with this guy's name. I mean, I'm not sure this is right. I'm trying to think of another Indigenous person that would have been nominated for an Academy Award. Famously, the Academy Awards are white as hell, and not too many non-white people ever have a shot. And I'm trying to think. So I feel good about Native American person here for the 90s being the right answer, and I'm trying to come up with what this person's name is, and I haven't found it yet. Man, I'm not even sure this is I'm not even sure this is the right person even in question here. Y'all haven't, given me that to know. What is it? Man, what is this? This person, if what I'm thinking of, this person has the same name as another ultra famous person, but they're not the same person. They did different things. I might need
a little nudge here.
I
know who you're talking about. I cannot. Yeah, who are you thinking of?
You're thinking of Graham Greene.
That's it. There it is.
Was nominated but did not win.
Sure.
Yeah. So this is the first person who won, and this is actually earlier. This was, I think, 81 or 82, and it's actually a woman. Let me give you a couple of hints. You want hints?
Yes.
Okay. She was a Canadian singer who was active in the folk revival of the 1960s.
So I guess it was for a song or for acting, I guess is the question here. 81. Who was a Canadian native? Who was like a native woman from Canada? All this Canada trivia, y'all.
I wanted to write a Learn League one day on like Canadian folk music, and I learned that there already had been one on Canadian singer-songwriters or something.
Oh, gotcha.
And I was like, I was going to write that, and I looked it up, and do you know who won it?
Who was it? Someone?
Peter Broder.
Jeremy Horwitz.
Yeah. There you go. I don't know this person.
Okay. Do you want some more? Okay, so it was for Best Original Song. Can I tell you the movie?
Sure, give me the movie.
Okay, An Officer and a Gentleman.
I've heard of that movie. Haven't seen it.
Do you know the song?
No. I don't think I know it.
Okay, the song is Up Where We Belong, which was sang by Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes. Jennifer Warnes also sang Time of My Life, which was the Dirty Dancing song with with Michael McDonald. Am I want to think? No.
I'm just going to look this up.
Okay, so do you want to know the answer?
Bill Medley.
Yeah. Bill Medley. Right. Okay, that was Time of My Life.
Yeah.
And Up Where We Belong was Joe Cocker, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
I do not know this person, no.
Okay, so her name does not, so her name is actually Buffy Sainte Marie. And she was like an activist. She was from a Cree reservation in Ontario or Quebec, I think, but also partially raised in Massachusetts by a Micmac family. And so she was just very popular like with Dylan and Joan Baez and all those people. Yeah.
That is that's extremely and sort of good question.
And kind of turned into sort of more like like gig songwriting, like professional songwriting after her folk career, but then continued to kind of go back and forth and advocate for returning to kind of native roots in popular music. So
that's very good. I'm glad. I mean, did you know Graham Greene? Did you look it up when I was explaining it?
I knew Graham Greene.
Okay, good.
I did not know that I could not tell if he'd been nominated or won.
I did know. I wrote a quiz. It was a very good quiz of people that have the same names as another famous celebrity. Like it was two people.
Like Winston Churchill. There was like an author. There was like a novelist named
This
Winston
was
Churchill.
more for like Jane Seymour, for example, who was. While there might be other people with the same, like I say Graham Greene wrote. Those are two. I mean, one was an Academy Award.
Pretty famous people.
Author,
And actually, when I first heard of the author, I only knew the actor, so I
it's like who's but but it was that was good knowledge that I had.
Or Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway.
That was another one that was on my list of people.
Yeah. All right.
Exactly right. But
okay, so next question. The narrators of these three novels: Charlotte Perkins Gilman's *The Yellow Wallpaper*, Marcel Proust's *In Search of Lost Time*, which is also known as *Remembrance of Things Past*, and Ralph Ellison's *Invisible Man*. They all these narrators share what relatively uncommon quality? What is it?
Man, this is I'm working on I've read most of *Yellow Wallpaper*, I'm pretty sure. And
if you've read all of Proust, I'll be really impressed.
Nope, haven't read any of Proust. *Invisible Man* is certainly a famous book that many people have read that was never assigned to me, and I haven't got around to reading it yet. Believe is it? I don't know how. I mean, this is I feel like more.
I mean, those are three really different books.
Yeah, exactly.
What could they have in common?
Is it?
They're narrators.
They all. Are they? I feel like all the. What is it? Are they all like the two things that come to mind are like they were all locked in a basement or so. They're all. I think the *Yellow Wallpaper*, a girl in wallpaper. She's famously like she's in she's like basically locked away. And the only thing she's looking at is the yellow wallpaper. And then I think *The Invisible Man*, I think the main character is like in a room with a bunch of lights, and I think there's a ghost involved. I don't really know much about *Remembrance of Things Past* except for Madeline and the tea. It's the only thing I really know about it. I'm gonna say, I don't know. Like, I mean, they're all kind of like, I think they're all unreliable narrators. I think they all have. They're not exactly all there. However you want to, whatever description, which makes it compelling. I don't know. All locked away, or so I can see ghosts, talk to ghosts. I don't know.
You're a little closer. Let me tell you some other books that have. Okay, It's also quality shared by the narrator of the framing story of Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness.
Um,
And I got 2 more novels that have this quality.
or is it blindness? Are they all blind? No, I should read Heart of Darkness too. That's a short one.
It's a very short one.
Page. Yeah.
Yeah, fun. I think it's somewhere behind me somewhere. Give me another one, man.
It's also quality shared by the main characters of Cormac McCarthy's The Road, although they are not the novel's narrators.
Oh, what would this be? Like
Can I give you one more?
Incestual, all undead. What is it? Yeah, give me another one. I don't know what.
All right, this final one should probably give it away, but the same quality is shared by the narrator of Samuel Beckett's The Unnameable.
Oh, is it unnamed people? Is it all just people with no name? Is it like man, that's a bummer. That is people with no name is the answer here. They're all just, man.
And the narrative Invisible Man is sitting in a room full of light bulbs, as he
right, I know that, yeah. I did not realize
I'd forgotten that part.
I did not know the yellow wallpaper was unnamed title character, or nor was, I guess.
I mean, she's and they are unreliable narrators. They are narrating them themselves. And the interesting thing about Proust is that because so many people think that series of novels is autobiographical, they will, refer to him as Marcel.
So, isn't it called like Swan's Way or something? That's like a part.
Well, the first one is often called Swan's Way. And so the interesting thing about Heart of Darkness is everybody thinks Marlowe is the narrator, but the way the novel actually starts is they're on a boat, and there's like maybe 2 sentences where somebody's like, an anonymous sailor says, this too has been one of the dark places of the earth. They're sitting on something like it's Marlowe who says that, but first he says, we're in the Thames estuary,
and waiting for nothing to do but wait for the tide or something.
Wait for the tide. And he says, as we were sitting there, Marlowe says, this too has been one of the dark places of the earth. And then Marlowe tells the story of Kurtz.
Sure, that is.
But the actual framing narrator.
Right. That's all fair and good. I think I knew that about Invisible Man, but I wouldn't have connected that with the other 2. Like, I think I knew that the protagonist of Invisible Man was a nameless character.
And then in this question, one of the novels I had listed was Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, but Jeremy, who was doing a little fact checking for me, was like, well, she's known as the second Mrs. De Winter, so I think you can't you can't really say she's anonymous.
Yeah,
there's no first name.
Okay,
man, I need to read more books. That's my problem.
Sorry, the cat's on the wrong side of the door again. 1 second.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, and
all right. So the last question's about this painter and cartoonist. So I'm cheating a little bit because this is somebody who's known. She's known a little bit more famous for her cartoons, although lately her work has mostly been painting. Primitive style in cartooning and mixed media collage, and her early publications were in alt weekly newspapers, and that led to 2 novels and a recent series of workbooks on cartooning.
I was trying to think. The only woman that I have in the recent era of cartooning, I mean, I presume something more, I won't say high class, but higher class than the funnies, is Alison Bechdel, which I believe has written a lot of things. I don't, including, I don't know how much she is promoting the art of drawing and all that. I didn't know about the workbooks, but that's the only current name I have. I will guess Alison Bechdel as my person here.
Let me give you a hint. This person was a classmate of Matt Groening. You know who Matt Groening is?
I do know Matt Groening.
Of course you know Matt Groening is.
Yeah.
At Evergreen State College in the late 1970s.
That's not, I mean,
I'll be right back.
He also did, sure. He also did newspaper stuff.
You can read,
He did Life in Hell was his Matt Groening's work, which I've seen pictures of. But so someone that was a fellow cartoonist of the class with Matt Groening, who is this? I'm trying to think what this person did. I guess this is modern day cartooning, and I don't know. I'm not sure. This sounds like, either graphic novels or cartoons as an art form as opposed to TV animation.
Would you like the next hint?
I'll take a hint. Absolutely.
Her first novel, The Good Times Are Killing Me, was adapted as an off-Broadway play in 1990.
Okay. Don't really know the name of that musical, though. This is...
Right. And the last hint is last year she received a MacArthur Genius Award.
Yeah.
So if you remember everyone who...
Right. No, one of the MacArthurs. Yeah. Unfortunately, most of the MacArthur winning, it's people that I already know. I recognize them winning, and those that I don't already know, I don't really learn who they. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's like, oh, they finally won.
This is one of her books. I've got her name at the bottom.
Sure.
I don't know if the style looks familiar to you at all.
I guess I've seen that, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Here, I'll give you her name. Whoops.
Now we can't see the book.
Now it's
I know that's what. Okay.
The virtual background does not like.
You might.
I know that doesn't like. Wait.
No, it's still there.
All right. Okay. The name. Her name is Linda Barry.
Linda Barry.
Have you heard of her?
I don't think I have, but that's but she writes books of
huge cult like those alt news weeklies of the 80s and 90s. That's where Graydon got his start. And they were they kind of published each other's work for a long time and were big supporters. And he, of course, started The Simpsons, right? And kind of got into a whole new level of culture. And she kind of stayed in kind of the indie alternative culture.
Sure.
But is now known as a fairly influential art teacher. And so she has this whole series now of books about cartooning.
Wow.
And there's a fourth one just came out.
That is extra. That is fantastic. That was a great set of 5 questions, by the way. It did not do me well, but it was a great set of 5 questions, and I'm very glad to get stumped on things that are worth knowing about. That is the absolute.
Oh, I'm glad.
That is the best thing.
That is a good attitude to have.
Yeah, like I would rather get stumped on things worth asking about than just nonsense that is just too obscure. Like that is all like extremely. Yeah, I feel some of that. George, I should just guess George Mallory. I don't know why I didn't just say that. That I knew he didn't make it, but I didn't know he was the 1920s. That's all a bummer. But right now, y'all have earned 7.5, and I believe I can't really award any halves to me. I will say, fuck it. I'm gonna give me 2 halves and make it 4.5. I want to stick half on Mallory and half on nameless authors. I will give myself 1 point on that. That is cheap.
I'm gonna take a little break. I'm gonna keep listening.
Okay.
Go ahead and ask the questions in the interest of moving forward.
There you
go.
But
I'm just going to mute myself and stop my video.
That's fine. And then so you can just be right there. But I will also think she wants to get a drink or stay hydrated, however you need to do it. But the 5 questions in round 3 here.
Okay.
Number 1 is Antinodes, Antinodes, is an anagram of what Australian indie pop singer with the 2019 massive worldwide hit Dance Monkey?
Okay.
Number 2 is complete this clothing analogy. Undershirt is to waistcoat, as sweater is to what 8-letter clothing item? Number 3 is what 3 U.S. states are home to a WNBA franchise, but not to an NBA franchise? Number 4 is for the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Television Series Drama in both 1996 and 2006. An actress was nominated for playing a character named Kate Austen, even though these 2 characters are completely unrelated. Name the 2 TV shows where these characters appeared. And number 3 is both sung by Desdemona. Give the common 2-word names of the 2 arias performed at the beginning of the 4th and final act of Otello by Verdi. The first of the 2 songs has the official title Piangia cantando nell'erma londa. That's the official name of this aria. But those are the 5 questions in round 3. Hopefully a tough set. To return the volley after that last round they gave me. We'll go back to the top. Number 1 is Antinodes, is an anagram of what Australian indie pop singer with the 2019 massive worldwide hit Dance Monkey?
You know what's really funny? I'd heard about this, and like because of Learn League and all our trivia stuff that we do, I'd heard about this and I made an effort. I was like, I should look this up, and it's a really, really weird video. And you know what's annoying is that I cannot remember the name of the artist. And you were giving us so much information here.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those names like Dua Lipa, it's or Rita Ora or something. It's like one of those names that has just like, Jesse, do you know who this is?
I do not.
Okay.
The song, if you heard the song, you're like, yeah, I've heard that. Because it doesn't sound.
And it's like a weird video. Like she's like dancing with people like in a nursing home or something.
I've never actually watched the video, but I've heard this on the radio, and it sounds. I don't really know how to describe how the song sounds. Like the way her voice, I think. It's got a weird sound I haven't really heard on other singers, but
well, you're even giving us all this information with like an anagram and stuff. Yeah. So it's like Tina or Sita,
Tina or Donna or
Donna. Eden.
Also, this is I will say it's the stage name of the singer. It is not the first and last name.
Yeah. Tones. Oh. Oh, it's like Tones something. It's like, hang on. I'm just working on the anagram here.
Dynatones.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's like it's something like that. And Andy Tones or something. Andy Tones and I.
That is it.
It's Tones and I.
That is exactly right. And it's
and I was like, I thought it was like a duo, because it
sure no
like
Tones and I.
Because when I first saw can I say when I first saw Dua Lipa's name, I thought it was Dual IPA. Like,
sure, no, yeah, that's but no, Tones and I is the stage
Tones
name
and I,
of Tony Watson, Toni Watson.
Okay,
very straightforward name, and Tones and I saw that name, and I was like, I bet that's an anagram of something. I punched it in, and
that's a great anagram.
Exactly. I was like, letters and Tones and I can't be anagrammed into a word of like a 9-letter word of that's every main Scrabble letter in one name. So Tones and I. Very well done. That is and the song
that's one of those things where I'm like, I'm glad that like Learn League, like you're technically allowed to have a pencil and paper and figure stuff. But because that has saved me.
I wanted a good wordplay question there, and y'all did very well.
That was an excellent one.
Tones and I, which is a single person. I guess she is the I and Tones are her. Number 2 was complete this clothing analogy. Undershirt is the waistcoat, as sweater is the what 8-letter clothing item?
Oh, I had a different one. 8 letters. Okay. I was originally thinking it was jumper, because when I lived in the UK, people would call a sweater a jumper.
But a waistcoat is not an undershirt. A waistcoat is a vest, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. The analogy is something different than I thought. Okay, so wait, undershirt
is to waistcoat.
Okay, and we would say a waistcoat and a vest are the same thing, but in the UK, an undershirt is a vest. So what was the second part of the analogy? As sweater
is to an 8-letter. So what is a sweater?
So,
sorry, what they call an
so
undershirt, we call.
no, what we call an undershirt, they call a vest. So
Okay.
a synonym for
And-
waistcoat in the US is a vest. I think this is how I'm reading this analogy.
Okay, so undershirt is American for UK vest, and waistcoat is UK for American vest.
Mm-hmm.
So sweater is American for jumper, right, in the UK?
As far as I know, yeah.
So what do we call a jumper? I mean, what is the British word for what we call a jumper?
A pinafore? Well, I think a jumper, like as far as I know, I mean, is like a sleeveless, like a sleeveless dress worn over a dress.
Pinafore is 8 letters, and
Yeah, I'm gonna go for. I would say
I have
pinafore.
no
Sounds
better
good to
guess,
me.
so.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. Y'all have cracked it all, and it is a U.S. undershirt is a U.K. vest, a U.S. vest is a U.K. waistcoat, a U.S. sweater is a U.K. jumper, and a U.S. jumper is a U.K. pinafore. That is exactly right, and that is what Alice saw when she was there, and that is the pinafore. Very, very well done. Well cracked all that clothing translations back and forth. That is U.S., U.K., the same word.
Yeah.
Both sides. That's exactly right. You had that exact right logic there. And you need to know what a UK, what we call a jumper. What do they call? And you're really right. Is a pinafore.
Don't say something about wearing suspenders because you know what suspenders are for them.
Braces. No.
Yes.
Yeah, braces, yeah.
And what they call suspenders are.
What is it?
I have no idea.
A lingerie item.
Oh.
Stocking garters.
That makes sense. I mean, I guess that makes sense. That is what
And what does Marge Simpson say? An elevator is a lift, and steak and kidney pie is botulism. Or,
that's good.
Sorry,
That's good.
I can't remember the exact quote, but.
And on The Illusionist, on an episode about American and English differences, she said, we can't even agree on whether pants are something you put on under or over your pants.
That's true. That's funny. God. That's exactly right. I want to have like good clothing, like I said, all the translations there, and y'all knew what a pinafore was, which is what you needed to know. Number 3 is what 3 U.S. states are home to a WNBA franchise, but not an NBA franchise?
I know one of these is Connecticut.
I will say half credit is 2 points and full credit is 3, as you know.
Okay. So Connecticut.
I cede this one to Jesse.
I barely know the NBA teams, let alone the WNBA. Because at first, all the teams were matched with NBA teams, played in the same arenas, and maybe had the same owners. I feel like maybe like Las Vegas has a team, possibly. And
what state is Las Vegas in? Ooh, a cat.
Nevada. Yes.
I will concur that Las Vegas is in the state of Nevada. That is a true statement.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to argue against.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Connecticut. Oh, I bet Seattle still has a WNBA team, but no longer has an NBA team.
They don't have an NBA team? Was
no,
that the
moved to Oklahoma
Supersonics
City.
Oh.
So I would say Connecticut, Washington, and then for want of any, Minnesota has both teams, right? I know Minnesota has a WNBA team. I believe they still have an NBA team. So Connecticut, Washington, and should we say Nevada? Or
Is that your answer?
We'll go with those three.
So as you point out, Connecticut is the home to a WNBA team, the Sun, which apparently plays in an arena that y'all visit close to when y'all go up to Connecticut.
They play in Mohegan Sun, right?
Yeah, I think I think it's that same building, right?
I think it was a big deal when since they'd been playing at a casino, but
number two.
It's nowhere near Stamford, though.
Oh, I thought it was.
It's on the other side of the state.
Got you.
I mean, it's a small state, but not.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right, sure. The Las Vegas Aces, which is the newest WNBA team, where Asia Wilson, USC alum, is the current plays there. And the third team, Sue Bird, who is the longest playing WNBA player of all time, plays for the Seattle Storm, which is in fact in
good job, Jesse.
Washington. Minnesota Timberwolves is the Minnesota NBA.
Yes, thank you.
The Lynx, the WNBA team, but the Timberwolves is there. And Sue Bird, who certainly exactly what Washington State, certainly the most famous U.S. state without an NBA team, to which they really want one. Seattle really wants a team, and they're very mad every single year that they can't have an NBA team. They really want it back. But that's right, all three, very well done. Connecticut, Washington, and Nevada. Number 4 was for the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Television Series Drama in both 96 and 06. An actress was nominated for playing a character named Kate Austen, even though the two characters are completely unrelated. Name the 2 TV shows that these characters appeared in. Good TV question.
Kate Austen.
Yeah, I'm baffled. 96. Ally McBeal. Was it drama?
Yes, both of these shows are dramas, yeah.
Okay.
And these were for Best Actress or Best
Actress in a Television Series Drama.
So these are lead roles, which doesn't help me at all.
Yeah. Those were two that was spanning a decade when I really didn't watch a lot of network drama. So I'm assuming network.
Yes, these are both network dramas.
Okay, not cable. Okay.
Was Austen. Kate and Ally on in 96?
But that was a sitcom.
Was it? Okay, well, let's see. Shows my knowledge of.
Yeah, I'm gonna need, I don't know, Jesse, unless you have anything, I feel like I'm gonna need some little direction on this. Yeah.
All right, I'll give you a hint here. So one of the TV shows is set in the United States, as its title would tell you, and the other one is not set in the United States.
These are drama series, not like mini series or anything.
No, these are drama series. These are television dramas.
Okay.
So one is set in the U.S.
As the title would tell us. The title would tell us.
So is it like Boston Public or like Boston Legal?
Could be Boston
or
Legal.
Chicago Hope. American
Title.
The Americans. She was not named Kate Austen. It's not The Americans.
I don't think she ever used an alias of Kate Austen on that show.
No. And that's also too early. 06 is too early.
It's too late for LA Law.
Yeah. I would think it's like a Boston Public or Chicago Hope kind of thing. Or Boston Legal, rather.
Chicago Hope is a good
Boston market
for 96.
Yeah, there's like Boston Public, Boston Legal. Boston Market is the restaurant, right?
I want to throw.
It used to be Boston Chicken or something. Now I'm getting into fast food. Okay, 06.
And the other one is not set in the United States.
In the US. And
which makes me
I don't know, Homeland,
Lost.
Lost?
Could there be someone named Kate on Lost? I never watched it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I feel like there might be.
Or maybe it's like
really
it's not like Battlestar Galactica.
It is not. That one I did watch, and
yeah, I did too. And these are like dramas they're not like science fiction or. I'm gonna need another hint.
Nominated for best drama. So
drama. Yeah, sorry, Chris.
I'd just start making some guesses if I were y'all.
So let's
All
guess
right.
Chicago Hope and Lost.
Okay, and yeah.
So the one for 1996, the actress that was nominated was Christine Lahti or Latte or how Lahti, Christine Lahti, and Chicago Hope was certainly her TV show, and she was Dr. Kate Austin.
Very good for us.
And the other one, it was funny you asking the question: is there a character named Kate on Lost? Evangeline Lilly was the person that played the main female character on Lost, and her name was in fact Kate Austin. And so
what do you know?
I've never seen anything with Lost.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny. You just like wondering out loud: is there a character named Kate on Lost? And that is.
Then I started to think. I feel like I had heard of it, but I could be thinking of an entirely different.
It's like, is there
That's really, really funny.
Is there a character named? Like, it's like, is there a character named Dwight?
So you're saying we just got this question just like randomly saying like what shows were on in those years?
You did know that. I mean, as its title would tell you, did know a geographic title, Chicago Hope, and then not in the United States. You discovered it was not in Europe or anywhere else. It was set in the Pacific. I was trying to think of a way to say, just a way to say its setting without being like, oh, the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But yeah, Chicago Hope and Lost with 2K.
Yeah, my first thought was that it had to be something outer space also. But
oh sure, no,
which had kind of. I mean, it was supernatural, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
There's
that's really funny.
Well
I love it when a good plan comes together.
Well, yeah. And then with number 5, we changed from Golden Globes to opera, saying both sung by Desdemona. Give the common 2-word names of the 2 arias performed at the beginning of the 4th and final act of Otello's Verdi. And first of the 2 songs is the official title. Piangea Cantando nell'erma landa is the name of the. So.
Piangea Cantando nell'erma. Something about tears.
Jesse knows Italian.
Anyway, I'm guessing one of them has to be that famous crossword puzzle aria, Eri 2.
But are you looking for the common English names?
Both of these 2 arias are best known by a 2-word name.
Italian or English?
I think he's not going to tell us because I'm guessing Eri 2 for one of them. But official names for arias tend to just be the first words of the aria, which aren't always memorable. So whatever the Piangina Cantata is. But what would be another? I used to know a little more about Verdi operas, but opera in general is not my strong suit here.
Of course. That's why
you picked it.
This is why it's in the hardest category.
Yeah.
And see here, I was hoping there'd be a question about 10 things I hate about you.
Sure. Our film question was the Ron and Thousand.
Right.
Thousand
yeah.
Acres. We had
something. I guess the other one must be English then, since he won't tell us the language. It's known by a 2-word. Perhaps.
I dropped my handkerchief.
Don't listen to.
I'm tossing this one to you.
I cannot think of any. I can't think of any arias at all right now.
Yeah, that is perfectly fine. I can start giving some hints to.
Hints would be good.
Let's at least guess Eri 2 as our.
Eri 2 is from a Verdi opera. It is not from that one. It is from.
I don't think so.
The opera is Un ballo
in the mass
ball.
The mass ball.
Yes, that is the opera where you would find Eri 2. A very fine guess and a Verdi aria, but not that one. The first of the 2 songs, this is a song that is based exactly on the script of Othello, and it's about a song Desdemona used to sing, according to the text of Act 4, Act 5 of the play Othello, and it revolves around a plant. Yeah, this is I'm not saying I've gotten this right. It's about a certain kind of tree in question here.
I recall Ophelia talking about plants.
She did like some flowers.
But I do not remember what plant, what tree that.
This is where I have to confess that I have never seen a production of Othello.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I've read the play, but
there was a movie called O, starring Mckee Pfeiffer and Julia Stiles, who was also in 10 Things I Hate About You.
I don't know if this plant makes an appearance in the movie O.
I also haven't seen that movie. So.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the song here is called The Willow Song. Desmond talks about, like a song she used to sing as a child was Willow, and that it says it's even lie in Act 4, Act 5. And the second song, after Amelia appears with Desdemona, and that's when Desdemona sings the Willow Song with Amelia. According to the notes I have read, I actually haven't seen Othello either, but I want to be the hardest question. Is after Amelia leaves, before she goes to bed, she sings this song, and it is a title that is very well known outside of opera. But it'd be something you might say. It might be this is a common song title in high music.
Good night.
I mean,
sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Lullaby.
Lullaby.
It is something that a person might
farewell.
Something a little more religious than something that you might
God
say.
bless you, God keep you.
Or something that you might recite.
Prayer, good night prayer, evening prayer.
The most famous prayer.
The Lord's Prayer.
Our Father,
you Jewish people are not picking up on this.
We can give you lots of Hebrew prayers if you want.
That's right. Schubert has a very famous version of this.
Lord's Prayer?
No.
Close.
It's about one of the main figures.
Ave Maria.
There it is. Ave Maria.
Oh.
Okay. Exactly. That is the... Yep, that is what it is there. It is Ave Maria. So the Willow Song and then Ave Maria. Those are the two titles there. I wanted to have even because it was like I had music.
You wanted like a classical music song?
Some people just know it, that is something and it is like in your category, and it was the hardest question there. But no, that was but no, it's like Willow Song and Ave Maria, apparently the two songs that are like really well known from Othello, which is
you know what? I don't feel bad not getting that because we got the rest of them.
But you got, Tones and I, Pinafore, the 3 states, and full half credit on the two TV shows there. So 3.
Yeah. No, I'm proud of us for just randomly guessing 2 TV shows from those years. Well well done. And all right, should we bring this home?
5 Yep. So y'all have 5 questions, and then there's one more question for both of us, and that will be.
Oh, there is
one more. So the way the game works is that the previous guest writes one question for the next guest. And so I read it out loud. I haven't read it, and I read it out loud.
Oh, so this is from whoever your last guest was?
Correct.
That's right. Who was your last guest?
It was some Columbia friends of mine.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So nobody we know.
Correct, yeah. So
you're like, you have to, will we know who your next guest is?
No. I'll tell you it's, I think it'll be Ben and Mike.
Ben Smith. Okay.
But you just write you write one question for the next guest, and I'll ask y'all to do the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Return the favor. So it's a nice domino effect of former guests.
Yeah. All right.
5 questions for me.
So here's a question for you. I would call this lifestyle, I guess, would be the learning category equivalent. Sure. The Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics is located at what university? The first accredited institution in the United States founded on Buddhist principles. All right, second question. This is a science question. All right. A tokamak, Tokamak, is a device for producing energy through what physical process? Next question is a theater question. I'm going to quote Virginia Woolf here, who we talked about earlier. Virginia Woolf said this about what playwright? Quote, all women together ought to let flowers fall upon the tube of blank, which is most scandalously but rather appropriately in Westminster Abbey, for it was she who earned them the right to speak their minds. Next question is pop music. I had originally wrote this question because I thought we had originally talked about doing this last weekend. And so I was going to say, today is April 4th. Today is not April 4th. Today was supposed to be April 4th.
Sure.
There's a 1984 U2 song about a historical event that occurred on April 4th in 1968 That historical event is not the answer or the question or the name of the song.
Okay.
The same song, that U2 song, was covered in 1991 as a techno dance remix, of all things, by artists who that same year, 1991, became far more famous for a dance hit that reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and is on most lists of the greatest dance tracks of all time. I don't want you to name the song. I want you to name the vocalist featured on that dance hit who successfully sued the duo to get credit for her work and is now known for inspiring legislation to require vocal credits on CD packaging and videos.
Oh my God, what a good question.
It's the third round, Chris. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, and then your final art question. Name the Swedish painter whose abstract compositions predated Kandinsky's similar experiments. She was also a spiritist and claimed that her art was inspired by contact with the dead during seances. Her paintings resembled diagrams, which she claimed represented the ideas of spiritism. God, spiritism, like seances and shit.
Sure. Yeah. Those are the 5 questions in round 3. If you need another moment.
Yeah.
So let's start back up at the top with number 1.
The Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics.
So
and I know you work in higher ed, so I figured.
No, sure. So it's the first American university with some universities are Lutheran, some of them are Methodist, some of them are Baptist. This one is Buddhist.
Yes, is Buddhist.
Man, I was gonna say like University of Colorado before that because I think Kerouac's from he has some connection with the Denver area. I think he was. But I don't think University of Colorado. I don't think the main state university of the state of Colorado is Buddhist. I bet if it's in Colorado, and that's the only state I have a connection with Jack Kerouac is Colorado, and the only schools I can name in Colorado are UC Boulder, Colorado State, and the Air Force Academy. I don't really like any of those 3 being right. What's a Buddhist school? A Buddhist what? I didn't even know that non Abrahamic religions had their own universities in America. That is wild. This is crazy. I had no idea. God, I don't want to say Colorado State. That's dumb. I don't think Colorado State's a Buddhist school.
It is a private institution.
Sure. Yeah. No, give me I just had no idea.
All right, you're right. It's in Colorado.
Right, I knew. Yeah, I figured. I mean, Kerouac is a Colorado. Like, that's
but it's one of there's like 5 like higher ed institutions in Colorado that aren't. Yeah, and you're right. You had the Air Force Academy, University of Colorado, Colorado State. There's Colorado College.
Sure. What's their team name? Do you have what's the
I don't think there's a team name.
Oh, I was wondering. That's always that's
that I know of. Yeah.
This is like
probably, the other hints I have for you are more just like it was founded in 1974.
Okay.
I don't know, that helps.
Man,
it's affiliated with Shambhala International. I don't think it's really known as like an undergraduate kind of like, I don't think they have like a Greek system.
This sounds like a monastery in the mountains. Like you go there. This is like how Batman trained to be Batman, but there's like a Buddhist university in like the Rockies of Colorado. That's just there for all who want to be enlightened. And it's there for those who want to get their PhD in Nirvana. What a amazing thing I've never heard of. What is there? I'm not sure if the name's like a proper noun. I'm not going to guess it. What is the name of this school?
It's called Naropa University. Naropa.
Naropa.
Yeah.
Do they not have athletics there? I really want to know.
I don't think so.
They do not appear to have any.
I think the athletics might be like yoga.
Oh, sure.
That's like,
non-competitive.
I actually this was another thing I had heard of it, but it actually is more, it's really more known more for like certificate and professional programs and sort of master's degrees,
like a religious school would be. They're not,
right. But you can also get like degrees in like Buto dance and like yoga teaching, and
they're not doing engineering or being a,
which is not. I'm not disparaging. It's
no, academic, of course not.
It's accredited. It's accredited, but it's not not like the kind of place you go to be like, I'm going to pledge like Alpha Phi. And,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
and like
frat
be on the
life
marching band. Yeah.
Greek life at a Buddhist university probably isn't super popular, or even a that they could believe in. What an amazing, ultra good thing. I was like, a Buddhist university. I had no idea there were non-Abrahamic religion universities in the United States. Like,
yeah, do you know what is I think the only secular Jewish university founded on Jewish principles?
I was gonna say
secular
Brandeis, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, Brandeis. Yeah, I figured like there's tons of Christian schools. I knew Brandeis in Boston. I don't really know any Islam.
Most of the other sort of Jewish-oriented universities are actually things like Yeshiva and Hebrew Theological College.
Sure, got you.
So
not
like that are, you know, essentially rabbinic schools that have some liberal arts and
got you. Yeah.
Or are affiliated. Yeah.
But I did not know that there was a Buddhist university in Colorado.
Yeah.
What a ultra. I think that should be more well known, man. What a good fact. I need to find out who else knows about this. That is good.
All right, tokamak, producing energy through what physical process?
Tokamaks store plasma. That's what a tokamak does. I don't know what the answer is, though. I'm almost positive the tokamaks store plasma. That's not, I don't know, like.
But what do they do with it?
I don't know. What are you doing with plasma? You put it in a TV and it makes it work. Like fission or fusion? Like, I'm trying to think like it's plasma is just plasmonic diffusion. That's just putting science words together to make it sound good.
You're sciencing.
Yeah, I'm sciencing. I know tokamaks store plasmas. I know that's what tokamaks do, but I don't know what else they do. I am close, right? With the yeah. But I don't know.
Do you know a tokamak is shaped like a donut?
I think I know it's like a centrifuge type shape. I think like if I put like centrifuge, like tokamaks are plasma centrifuges is what I've always like in my mind, but I don't know more rotation, torque. I don't know what the answer is here. Like that's probably
I'm going to give you a hint. The world's largest tokamak project is known as ITER, ITER, and it's located in the south of France and is expected to be fully armed and operational by 2035.
Oh God. Is it like colliding, like super collision, or I don't know what other science things you can do?
Let me give you another hint. You want another hint?
Yes.
Back to the Future projected that you could have one of these in your home. That this process could be done in your home or to power your car. I didn't write that down. I'm just pulling it out of my ass.
I do like a Back to the Future slant. That is definitely how you can
there's a film,
I've seen some, obviously
it's on the back of the car in one of the Back to the Future movies.
Oh, so it's the first one.
So
the first one at the very last scene where we're going, we don't need cars. Right, that's what powers that car.
It's Mr.
powers that car.
It's fusion.
You were really close. What?
Fusion. It's Mr. Fusion.
Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Fusion. Yes.
Nuclear fusion.
Nuclear fusion. There we go. Yeah, Mr. Fusion, famously the Westinghouse logo, and I need fuel, and I have seen all three of these movies over 24 times. It's probably my favorite film franchise is Back to the Future. Mr. Fusion is certainly it. I was that's the clue there. Was like, it's Back to the Future hints here. That's how we get to it.
So do you get do you get a point for that? A half point?
I'm for sure getting a half point. I didn't know.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but talking about, I knew it was plasma, but I just didn't know.
Yeah, what it did with it.
What you did with it. I just knew it was like.
Yeah, it doesn't split the atom. It tries to put them.
Sure. Yeah. However plasmas work, and it was like fusion or fission, somewhere in the processes of what matter can do. But fusion, I'll tell you. There we go.
All right. So there's playwright.
Yes. So read that.
She's buried in Westminster. Okay. Virginia Woolf said this. It's a playwright. All women together ought to let flowers fall upon the tomb of blank, which is most scandalously, but rather appropriately in Westminster Abbey, for it was she who earned them, meaning women, the right to speak their minds.
So it's female playwright. Oh God, who is this going to be? Is this the woman that was a spy? there was a playwright or author or playwright that was a former spy for the British, and I believe later in her life she would end up being an author of her own accord, and one of the first English women to receive that could be her livelihood was writing, and she's got a name, as all these people do.
She does.
All of
she has
them.
A name.
They've always got names. They never not have names.
Except for the characters in the books.
Exactly. Except for those characters in these books. Exactly. Man. Is this it? Am I thinking of the right person?
Yeah, you absolutely. In fact, you named two of the hints that I was going to give you.
Oh no, I hate this. But now, Madam C.J. Walker is coming up with that. but I really am not sure I'm going to come up with the name of this person. Dookie. What? I think. I don't want to say one of the names is like Andre, but I feel like one of the names is like a cadence similar to the letters of that, but I don't know. Man, that's right. I hate this. I hate that I somehow like. I think I've.
Do you want to know her initials? Would that help?
Give me the initials.
They're the same as like a crossword guy who's pretty good friends with us.
There's lots of friends that I have crossword friends.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, AB. AB.
Okay. I'm not sure. Even if.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you have to give it to me. I want to know.
Yeah, Afra Behn, Behn. And she was a spy. She was a spy for King Charles. She was Charles II. She was on the Restoration stage. She lived from 1640 to 1689. And yeah. First professional woman playwright to write in English.
Man,
this was also the Restoration period was when women first started playing the roles of women on the stage professionally. Sure. Before that, it was men doing, women's parts, dressed in women's clothes. So
I always had the question.
And also like during, the Puritan, the Commonwealth period, there wasn't any theater. So
right, I've always had the question. I haven't done much research about it, but in Shakespeare plays when female characters dress as men to enter the main scenes, what did those actors look like? Like when Viola in Twelfth Night dresses as a man to talk with all the people, it would be a man playing a woman character who is masquerading as a man in the plot of the play, which is what would that actor look like? That's a very good question. Would it be two layers, or would it be what the male actor would look like already? These are questions for your mind.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
So there are fewer costumes back then, actually, and actors tended to sort of make up their own costumes and kind of wear the same things.
So loose with the rules.
I imagine the mostly young boys who were playing these roles would have their standard, I'm playing a woman outfit, and then I don't know this. I'm just picturing.
No, sure.
Something like a Looney Tunes thing where then like you put on a hat and
right, yeah, that's
Bugs Bunny.
I've always felt like but there's characters in Shakespeare where it would be in real life. It would be, and like today, it would be an actress dressing as a man for the play. But if it's Shakespeare's times, it would have been a man playing a woman playing a man, and then it's like how many hats on hats of costumes would you be wearing? Is how would it look? But there you go. Not afraid, Ben. I've seen that name. I knew the plot line, but I did not have her name. But
I saw Laura's clue here and hints before she wrote the answers in, and I said, I just listened to an entire podcast about this woman a few months ago and could not remember her name.
Good job on y'all. So, yeah, that is
it's actually one of my favorite periods of literature and history.
Yeah. And what did
Restoration?
What did she write?
Her most famous play was called Orinoco. So if you're also studying like colonial literature, it's about a slave revolt essentially. So
that was
which is also really fascinating.
That's right.
And if you're interested in colonialism, post-colonialism, like gender history of theater, all that stuff.
I think I did
really fascinating stuff.
We were supposed to. I think there was one class in USC that was on the things we might have read, but the teacher did not get around to teaching Orinoco.
All right, it's 1:45 to midnight. So we should ask you 2 more questions.
That's
so
fine.
we can get at the end of this.
I'm having a good time. It's good to see. It's good FaceTime with people.
No, totally. Okay, so this is the first question I wrote, and I think it was a little too complicated and long, but I'm going to walk you through it.
Yep.
Okay, so we were going to have this on April 4th. The 1984 U2 song about a historical event that occurred on that date in 1968. What is the song? Jesse, you know the song.
I do. Am I supposed to tell him here?
Yeah, sure. This is not part of the question.
Is this is this the Sunday Bloody Sunday? Is this something different? That's another.
It's something different. An event that took place in the U.S.
What took place on April 4th, 1968?
Oh, so this would have been assassination of Martin Luther King, and so
right. What's the U2 song?
Is it like the shots fired over Memphis? Is that what it is? Like
no, it's the song is mostly not about Martin Luther King, but there's a bit at the end about him, so.
Well, I think I knew there was a YouTube.
Well, there is a line in the song, early morning, April 4th, shots ring out in the Memphis sky, free at last. That's what they said.
They took
they could not take your
breath away.
The name of the song. They could not take your, what's the name of the song? Pride. In the name of love, one man in the name of love. Okay. One man comes to, okay. Clearly like, okay. Okay, so
I think a lot of that
anyway,
song's about Jesus also, but
sure. So in 1991, this was covered as a techno dance remix.
Oh my God.
You can imagine. It's actually not bad. I did listen to it. Okay. The artist who made that techno dance remix that same year, 1991, became really famous for a dance hit that reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and that song is on most lists of the greatest dance tracks of all time. That song featured a vocalist, and I'll give you a little bit more information. She was the vocalist on the song, but the video did not include her because it was turned out later that the artists thought that she was not attractive enough to be in the video. She successfully sued them to get credit for her work, and now because of her, there is legislation that all singers must receive vocal credits on packaging and videos.
Sure, that's all very good. This is something. This is all great. I don't think I've heard the story. And
okay, you may not have heard the story, but you do know the song.
Okay, what is the song?
I swear that you got it. The title of the song is not its chorus.
Sure.
The chorus of the song goes, "Everybody dance now."
So this is the CNC Music Factory.
It is. Yes.
And it's called. I don't know what the song is called. But
what's the name of the song?
Yeah, it's one of the classic jock jam songs.
Everybody thinks it's called gonna
because that's the line before the beat drops or whatever.
Yes. Everybody thinks it's called Everybody Dance
like
Now.
Sweating. It's something like getting sweaty with it or something like that. I'm gonna sweat.
With the oldies, getting sweaty with the oldies now. Right?
It's something like that. Isn't it something with sweat though? Isn't that right?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
But it's whoever sang on the CNC Music Factory, and this is
this song.
This is a good thing to know. But,
I just like talking about this song because I think this is such a great story.
Who is this? I don't know who this is.
Can I tell you more about her?
Sure. Oh.
She was one half of a 1970s disco duo known for a famous gay anthem.
What is it?
Think about, there's like 3 famous gay anthems, right? There's a lot, but like the most famous gay anthems of the 70s.
What is it? Was it, I think, as included in the New York Times recently, is it It's Raining Men? Is it that? Or is it?
Yes, it is, because my second clue was the famous gay anthem is about precipitation, metaphorically.
That's right. Okay. I referenced it a couple of episodes ago, because I was watching about the Magritte painting Golconda, which is where it's raining men because it's all. I referenced the song for that. But I don't know who are the members of that group. I think the name of the group, but I don't know who's in it. This is
all right, here's another clue. Her name is reminiscent of a figure in American history.
There's lots of those. George Washington. I don't have this.
Close. Oh my God, you're really close.
Oh shit! I had no idea. Georgia Washington. I just
no. Who's George Washington's wife?
Martha. Still didn't mean it. I still don't have.
Do you want to know?
Yes.
I love this story, and so I just could not figure out a good way to. I don't think I wrote this a good question, so I think you should get the credit for this just because we're talking about it. Her name is Martha Wash, actually.
Oh my god! I just can't believe I took a random.
And so that Everybody Dance Now bit, like that's her voice, but in the video it's like some skinny bitch, and so so this legislation that she managed to like get credit for this.
That is an excellent
so it's a great
question.
Story, right?
I'm sorry.
And It's Raining Men is by the the something girls. The look that up.
I feel bad. Like
Weather Girls.
The Weather Girls, right? Precipitation.
Obviously.
It's Raining Men.
It's an excellent question. I'm sorry. It's just I'm just not that great of a music person, so it's like that was all very good. Like that would but things I've heard of and in segments, but I couldn't. But no, Martha Wash. I can't believe I just made up a name of George Washington and somehow got close to a random stab like that. But no.
All right. So the last question is about the Swedish painter, and like I have to say, like I only found out about her because there was a Guggenheim retrospective of her work that I actually ended up catching this past fall.
God, I don't even know. I was trying to think.
So her last name is very similar to a Viennese painter who is the subject of the film. What is it called? The Woman in Gold.
Oh God, Viennese. Who's a female Viennese?
Art Deco painter. Super famous. Her last name is really similar to his. He does these paintings, these sort of Art Deco paintings with like lots of gold leaf.
Yeah. Oh, Klimt was the.
Yeah.
So
her name's really similar to his.
Klimt with an N. So
yes.
It is. Oh.
Yeah.
Klimt. However, a more Swedish name.
Yes.
But what? Oh, I'm not. That's not.
You want to just know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's her name is Hilda af Klint. And if you look at her paintings, they really look like Kandinsky, actually. So she's now she was sort of lost, I guess, or not really, known very much about. And then, so she claimed that her paintings were sort of like diagrams of like seances or something like that. Anyway, she lived from 1862 to 1944.
That is very.
And I think because of this Guggenheim, there's been plenty of retrospectives, not as many like in like sort of elite American museums. So she probably has not been as much in the the radar.
No, but that was extremely good. And but so another good round 3, very hard question, which is what the game was all about. We have one more question for both of us. This was written by Drudix. I will just read it out for both of us right now.
You don't know the answer either.
Yes, I have not read it. It was sent to me in an email. So I'm reading it live. So none of us have seen this question.
The 3 of us have to figure it out.
That's right. You can still be one each on each. But the question we have here tonight is, oh God, what a good question. So the question out here is a wordplay question. The longest palindromic word in the Oxford English Dictionary is the onomatopoeic tatteratat, Tattarrattat, meaning a knock on the door. It was coined in 1922 in the best-known work by what famous European author? Ooh, what a good question.
Oh, it's got to be Joyce. It's got to be, I bet it's Finnegan's Wake.
Or... Well, if it's the best
or it's Ulysses.
Or
1922. Oh no, that could be.
I like that though. I like Ulysses a lot. I mean, I like James Joyce.
No, Ulysses is not. It could even actually be a portrait of the artist, but I think.
But I mean, the question is European author. I like Joyce a lot. I mean, that's definitely the time period of Joyce. 22. Who else was?
Finnegan's Wake is later than 22, though. I want to.
But I mean, I will say this: the time period of. I mean, but best known work by James Joyce is Ulysses.
Yeah, let's say Ulysses.
But I mean, looking for the author though, I like James Joyce.
Oh, we're just looking for the author.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go for James Joyce. What do you think, Jesse?
Sure. I've never read any Joyce, so.
I've heard he's famous. The answer here is James Joyce Ulysses. There you go. Very well done, Laura. So exactly right.
I actually read that book twice. It's
Oh,
really
good.
good. I mean, but I wouldn't like. It's not like all these people are like, oh, what should I read during quarantine? Let me read War and Peace. I would not say Ulysses would be like the same.
No, that is we got the points on that. So right now, the end of the game, Team Laura, Team Jesse have earned 12 points on the set all together there, and I have earned 6.5. I was humbled mightily. But these were extremely, extremely well written questions, and I am glad to now walk away with more things to look up, and glad to have these things to be aware of them. This was some very, very fantastic stuff, and a very, very good game.
So you feel like this was like the right level of?
I want these questions to be hard and good, and these were good, hard questions. Like, this is the level of nonsense that I want to provide doing this stuff, and I think it was these were things to know, things you'd want to know, spreading different categories, and definitely things worth asking about. And I was very glad to play them. And y'all saw through all the tricks on mine, and just some good things, some good nuggets that I was not aware of. But things I knew, tell my tongue type things, or things I knew but did not have. But no, this was all very good. But thank you, Laura, and thank you, Jesse. But I hopefully thank you for playing, and we'll have another episode very, very soon. And until then, everybody take care, stay inside, wash your hands. Hope to see you all soon. Bye, everyone.